Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am live in swinging San Francisco, California. And this is the Monday morning live stream, and it's actually in the morning for a change. Sorry, I had to do it a little earlier today due to life stuff. I actually want to do this earlier, so I got to check with everybody. I know I like to set times to where I get pretty close, but yeah, I'd like to do it earlier in the morning. We'll see how that works out for everybody. Because later in the afternoon, I've been just kind of rambling on, and it's like 3 o'clock here, and it's half my day. So the earlier, the better. So how you doing? I'm going to talk about a few things today that popped up. One just popped up this morning. I saw Indiana Jones 5 is starting to film in April. We're also going to discuss, you and I, you in the chat and I are going to discuss Daredevil and the Defenders not showing up in the MCU, how it's been pretty much confirmed. I also want to go over the possibility of Bucky being Cap, Captain Marvel's Phase 4 stuff, Disney streaming with Blade and Moon Knight. I also would like to do maybe a little Deadpool for the Infinity War with you in the chat. And we're going to plug some stuff and talk about Wolverine and Jessica Jones as well. So I got a lot of stuff to go over. We'll see how long we can go today. The chat is already going. Ghost World says, it's nice having goals and dreams that we never meet. LOL. Tears of sadness, right? Well, like I said last podcast, progress, not perfection, Ghost World. I'm hoping for a Blade too. Ghost World says I'm really hoping for a Blade. I am too, but I have concerns, and I will get to those. I want to start out. What's up, Blaze 8? The Daredevil stuff makes sense. They didn't want to mix them in yet, and it does, and especially with his current storyline going on. Since he's dead, it would be hard to have him come up in Infinity War. They could change the time, but I want to start out with Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark for the longest time was my all-time favorite movie. Indiana Jones was my favorite character. I grew up in the Star Wars generation, saw Star Wars when it came out in the movie theater, blah, blah, blah. You've heard that before on this podcast. But Raiders of the Lost Ark was the one that hit home with me. I loved every second of that movie. It is the perfect movie to me. And I loved Indiana Jones as a character, like this flawed adventurer who was just cocky as hell, was confident, but would still screw up once in a while and get in over his head and just very clumsily get his way out of stuff, which was it was totally cool and something you can identify with. So Temple of Doom came out, and when it came out, I was 14, and I didn't like it. I've grown to like it now. But I'll tell you, it's one scene that really just took me out of that movie, and it was them jumping out of the plane on a raft. That was just so idiotic to me. And they doubled down on that in Crystal Skull when he gets in the fridge for the nuclear explosion. So that's even worse. There's even a podcast called Nuke the Fridge, which is named after it, which is funny. I loved Last Crusade. It was weird. When we heard the casting of Sean Connery, we thought he would be some sort of badass. So it was weird to see Sean Connery as an academic. And that took some getting used to, because we thought we were just going to get two badasses. But it really worked for me. Love Last Crusade, even with the bit of a 900-year-old knight being in, hanging out and waiting for him. And you choose wisely, So Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull happened. And forgive me if you've heard this story before, but I owned the comic shop at this time, and I was really excited. And my friend Doug Johnson, who shows up in the chat once in a while with you guys, flew up. We were childhood friends, and flew up to San Francisco so we could see so we could see Indiana Jones together, like we saw Raiders together. We had a nice lunch. We went and saw the movie, and we were sad when we came out. I was actually pretty angered. I would have a lot of nerd. I was younger, so a lot of nerd rage. So I went back to the comic store after Doug went home. Dark Horse had done some Indiana Jones adaptions for their comics. I went and ripped them all off the new release rack. And they weren't selling anyway, and I tossed them in the trash. And that's the first time I've ever thrown away good comics. and my manager at the time was just cracking up at me, but I was that pissed off. So since then, Harrison Ford has returned to he's returned to all three of his biggest franchises. Um, his most famous ones. I mean, he's done other ones too. You know, Get Off My Plane. He's played the president. But I'm talking about like sci-fi stuff. So he's returned to Blade Runner. He's returned to Star Wars, and he's returned to Indiana Jones. In all three of those, there's one common denominator, one common thing. He's returned to be a bad father. And I don't know if he set out to do this, but it really stuck out with me after I saw Blade Runner. Now, Blade Runner, he was the least guilty of being a bad father, to where he didn't really know there was a baby. I bet you he suspected, though. So he was an absentee father at best. In Crystal Skull, he was again an absentee father. The mother didn't tell him about the kid for whatever reason, and when he does see the kid, he takes him out on an adventure, and it's Shia LaBeouf. So Shia LaBeouf. So can't really blame him for being a bad father. Look at that kid, although he doesn't look anything like him. You think they could have cast a kid that maybe looks a little bit like Karen Allen or Harrison Ford, but no, they had to get what was the Disney show he was in? Even Steven or something like that. I don't know. I never watched it. And of course in The Force Awakens, he's the worst father of them all. He couldn't handle his kid, so he sends him off with his uncle, who turned out to be much worse than he was, and then he goes out dying kind of like a punk. So yeah, bad dad. He's a bad dad, and that's I could do entire podcast on how Hollywood hates fathers, and maybe I will someday. And as a dad, I'm a little sensitive to that stuff. Okay, I am, because there's some good dads out there. Yeah, there's bad dads too, but we're not all bad. All right, Jesus Christ. Yeah, but so this is being filmed. Let's go to the article. I'll get to you guys in the chat in just a second. We're gonna share this. Bear with me for a mo. And it was on Superhero Hype, and I just read the headline on this, so I don't know. It just says Indiana Jones 5 filming in April, which is next month. And let me find, there we go. All right. It's always worth a trip when I get to work with a deep bench of talent coming out of the UK, the actors and the crew, the chippies, the sparks, the drivers, everybody who has helped me in my movies here will continue helping me make my movies here when I come back in April 2019 to make the 5th Indiana Jones movie right here, he said, he being director Steven Spielberg. Director Steven Spielberg related at the Empire Awards last night that Lucasfilm's Indiana Jones 5 filming will begin in the UK in April 2019. Set for a July 20th, 2020 release date, the film will again see Spielberg teaming up with Harrison Ford, who is reprising his iconic role, and franchise producers Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall. The screenplay written by David Koepp, who wrote Crystal Skull. So yeah, why not bring him back? He did such a bang up job there. The only thing worse would be bringing back Lawrence Kasdan. Bring back his son. Lawrence Kasdan's kid directed Jumanji. That was really good. Famed archaeologist and explorer Indiana Jones was introduced in 1981's. Wow, sorry. Raiders of the Lost Ark, one of AFI's 100 greatest films of all time, and beat out by Best Picture by Chariots of Fire. I just threw that in there. And later thrilled audiences in 1984's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 1989's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and 2008's pile of crap Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. The 4 films have brought in nearly $2 billion at the global box office. Spielberg's previously promised one big thing for the 5th installment. There will be no George Lucas involvement. I threw that in. While Bob Iger, chairman and CEO of Lucasfilm's parent company Disney, has said Indiana Jones 5 won't be the last film. What? Are you kidding me? It might be if Harrison Ford keeps flying planes. So I don't know about that. Sorry, Beck. Okay. So I don't know what you guys think in the chat. I'm going to get to the chat here. Let's roll back up here to use a DNC reference. Scrolling up, scrolling down. Nope. Last Crusade, greater than Raiders. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. Ghost World, are you my age or are you younger? If you're younger, I would understand that. But that's respectfully, that's an insane statement. It's really good though. But man, you know what? I love how Ghost World brings it. He disagrees with us the most, and I kind of respect that a lot. If Disney buys Netflix, Daredevil will be cinematic MCU. Yes, that is true, and I will get to that. Last Crusade is a perfect blend. Them raiding off into the sunset with the music going at the end. Damn, that still makes me smile. Yeah, that ending was perfect. You're right. That they should have stopped right there, and it would have been fine. Unlike The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, but mostly The Last Jedi, Crystal Skull didn't ruin the franchise for me, though. I can go back and watch them and love them. Love them eating monkey brains, says Steve Nyman. I know that scene was great. Chilled monkey brains. Kate Capshaw. Another video someday I can talk about how Kate Capshaw ruined Steven Spielberg. Although they're still happily married, that's great, and they've adopted like 75 kids, so good for them. But we lost like the real Steven Spielberg, and it probably wasn't her fault. He remember Steven Spielberg was the Academy didn't like him. He wasn't loved in Hollywood. He was like the new kid on the street, and they would like diss him on all the Academy Awards. He should have won so much more than he did. And his best work was late 70s, early 80s. And he's done some great stuff since, but and I point out, E.T. and a movie he kind of ghost directed was Poltergeist. Those neighborhood scenes where he's in suburbia, that was like taking a slice out of at least my life. I grew up in suburban San Diego, and that looked like my street. Those look like my friends. Stranger Things has done a great job with that too. Ghost World says, LOL. And yeah, we can all agree Crystal Skull was a low point. Doom has a lot of great moments, but it was just bogged down by some crappy scenes and acting. Yeah, agreed. Although I go back and enjoy it more for some reason. Kalima. Raiders is one of the greatest action films of all time, says Leon Kennedy. Temple of Doom was also great when I was a kid. Great quotes. We still use to this day. This is true, and it is the reason I know Umbrella Guy came out. I don't know if you Umbrella Guy does pretty good videos. It's comic skate stuff, and said that it was Gremlins that brought on the PG-13. I respectfully disagree. It was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom brought us the PG-13 when the heart got ripped out. People were freaking out. Crystal Skull was geek Doom because fans are, oh my God, genentrophobic. Sorry, public school education. They truly freak out at the aging process. Oh, okay. Just what you said, David 404. Sorry. Yeah. There's a little ageism going on there, but we do want our Indiana Jones running around and jumping off things. But we had a lot of if you're a Doctor Who fan, we had a lot of old doctors, and they pulled that off fine. So I think that'll work. Don't worry, neurotic. Like an abusive husband, Gary, I disagree with you because I love you. Like a husband. Wait, I'm the wife in this? Wait a minute. Hey now. JP says Steven Spielberg's been replaced by his counterpart. Totally, right? Oh my God. Sorry, I got a runny nose here. Hold on. Oh man, all that coke I did before the podcast. Just kidding. Clean and sober. J Tank 7 says they should have stayed with the Nazi time frame, get other actors to play him, and keep in the same time frame. Yeah, when they originally conceived Indiana Jones, it was supposed to be their quote unquote James Bond. So it did become Harrison Ford, and he's a very hard act to follow. But I think enough time has gone on to where I don't know, who would you pick to replace Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones? I know a lot of people were picking. Oh my God, why am I forgetting his name now? Guy who played Star-Lord. This is what happens when you get old. You forget names that were just on the top of your head. I think Timothy Olyphant would be a great replacement for Harrison Ford because he's got that same swagger. Also, if you're gonna replace Harrison Ford, all of the Solo movie, although the guy looks kind of like Han Solo, he doesn't have the voice. He's got kid voice still, and Harrison Ford has a man's voice. So that does make a difference. Davis Fourth Star. It wasn't the World War II, and not like it's others. The 1950s were about psychic powers, flying saucers, and Ruskies. Lucas was being clever. It was for that time, and I mean, I knew the UFO thing was coming, and it just didn't work. I was kind of excited about the idea. It just didn't work on screen. So maybe it was Spielberg. I don't know, but I think I always kind of equate Indiana Jones to the supernatural, and I think that's where he should, as far as like ghosts and gods and stuff like that. So I mean, a bold move, and that was what they were. That was the script they had forever. So that was what they were planning to do. I just think it was execution on that one. Chris Pratt, thank you. God dang it. Whew. Okay, so this episode of the Neurotic Podcast is brought to you by Pete's. I drank. This is like cracking a cup, so I'm a little jittery right now. Chris Evans as Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's a good pick, Ghost World. He plays very stoic Captain Marvel, which I didn't think he could pull off because his cocky actors. I love The Losers. I don't know if any of you guys out there saw The Losers. I think it's honestly one of DC's best adaptations of their work, this side of Dark Knight, as far as like true to the graphic novel, and a great movie, a really great movie that kind of flew under the radar. If you haven't watched Losers, I highly recommend it. Indiana Jones 5. Of course I'll be there. I'll see it, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they pull this off without George Lucas, and it could be better. I mean, this is going to be all Spielberg. So and I don't know if George Lucas's name is going to be on it. I haven't heard anything. He could be involved. I'm assuming it because I read the article and it didn't say his name at all. So Josh Hartnett as Indy. Oh, interesting pick. They need to try somebody, because and they're gonna remake Raiders of the Lost Ark. They're gonna remake Star Wars the original trilogy. Bank on it, count on it. Within the next I'll say give it a decade. And I'll repeat myself here, is I would love to see Star Wars made into a long form event television series. All kind of like the audio drama that they did. USC was given the rights to make an audio drama by George Lucas back in the early 80s, and it's fantastic. And they took basically the novelization, everything they took out of the script, and added to it, and it's wonderful. If you haven't, yes. Silver Spike one says, "Oh God, not Raiders." Yeah, they will. I mean, I'm not saying I want this, but they will. LaBeouf can have my what is that? LaBeouf can have my Indy when he pries my cold dead hands off it. There you go. I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting my messages cut off here, but Blaze 8, give me a Star Wars Netflix show. Hell yeah. I mean, if you want to remake it right, add depth to it, go straight up Game of Thrones with it, have some fun. Okay. No, well, I mean, you could have Luke and Leia making out. Then Luke pushes a kid out of a window. Prize it from my cold death fanboy grip. Ghost World, you're a fan man, not a fanboy. Jody, what's up? You get to see Chris Evans singing "Don't Stop Believing." For that alone, it's worth watching. But Zoe Saldana's being there was great too. Yeah, it's got a great cast of losers. Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Chris Evans, Zoe Saldana, and yeah, that would be interesting. But set it either way in the past or way in the future. Okay, yeah. JTake8 says, hey, let's redo all the great movies and turn them into crap remakes. Leave my 80s movies alone. Agreed. I'm going to repeat this for like the 50th time on Red Letter Media at the end of their Star Trek Discovery review. The main guy was asked, how does it feel to have lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchise destroyed? I'm paraphrasing on that one, but that's what happens when you get old. If you're younger, you're going to see it. Like the stuff you're loving right now, they're going to probably remake the MCU and redo Iron Man, or oh my God. I talked about this last podcast. One of the co-writers of Black Panther dissed Iron Man, saying it was a problematic movie and something you couldn't make today because Tony was a sexist, and he said it's a good thing you couldn't make it today. And that's actually something we can really talk about. Steve Nyman says Mary Poppins will be bad. Yeah, that is weird. That is just weird. I don't know how they're going to pull that off. They might. I don't know. The trailer looked very dark. They tried to make it Harry Potter. So the problem, actually, let's talk about this now. So Tomb Raider opened this weekend and it did really well in China. It made $41 million. It made more in China than it did in America. America did 23 million. I was watching Grace's talk or doing her movie math. I swear I'd never watch it. I keep going back on Beyond the Trailer, and she pointed out something that's true. The fact, the sexy factor, and they didn't put Laura Croft in shorts with two guns. And the girl, the lady playing her is actually very attractive, but they toned down the film and they just tried to make it action oriented, but they also wanted to make it a little more female friendly. So they weren't quote unquote objectifying with the shorts and the big guns. And you know what I'm talking about with big guns, but that's why the video game sold. Okay. That's what initially got people into the video game. It happened to be a very good video game back in the day too. That helps a lot, but there was the selling factor. And that's the problem Hollywood sees themselves in today. Hollywood's always been about sex. Sex sells. That's what we've been told forever. And now we're in this uber PC world, which I don't know if we're ever going to get out of. We'll see, where people are checking themselves on what they say all the time. And Hollywood now is de-sexifying some of their movies to their peril. Listen, I'm not, like Mr. Objectifier or anything, but, I'm married to a woman. I know women. Most don't mind. They like sexy too. Okay. And you could do it to dudes. How many shirt off scenes did we get in Thor? How many gratuitous ab scenes did we get? Arrow season 1 has him doing, pull-ups on a ceiling of a warehouse, and we know guys don't give a crap about that stuff. So this is a problem they're facing. And why didn't Tomb Raider do good? Well, for one, it's a video game franchise that's kind of dead. I guess they based it on a 2013 game, which I never played, which they being the YouTube videos that I saw said it was a good game. I have no idea. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't really think, I think the sex factor might have something to do with it. I think it just looked like a bland movie with a bland old dead franchise that nobody cared about. And they kind of rushed it out based on this Wonder Woman success. So Wonder Woman was successful. So every studio, because, it's Hollywood who's usually the objectifier and the one that sees stuff on surface level and with as much money as involved with all these damn movies, you'd think they would do a little more planning than they do, but they don't. They just simply go, hey, Wonder Woman made a lot of money. She's a girl. What girl franchise do we have? Because it will make money just like Wonder Woman, because, Laura Croft is just like Wonder Woman. And without even thinking about Wonder Woman being around for 75 to 80 years, being a beloved character in the DC universe, the female Superman, shall we say, and she is, the queen of DC Comics. And, Laura Croft has been around for 20 something years. And, while it's got a fan base, it's nowhere near what DC Comics fan base is. I wouldn't call it a Wonder Woman fan base. I think DC Comics fans went to see Wonder Woman. I'm sure there's a lot of people who Wonder Woman is their favorite superhero, but I think it was more of a DC Comics thing, and it was a good movie. It was a good movie, kind of crappy third act, but good movie. And Gal Gadot did a great job. She's a great Wonder Woman. And they had her in her pretty much original costume, a little darkened up, but she looked like Wonder Woman. Laura Croft didn't look like Laura Croft in this movie. And they tried, to make her this big action adventure. And the reason she carries around 2 pistols and shoots people is because she can't, fist fight 300-pound guys. Okay. And that's fine. You have to even the odds somehow. So shooting people is evening the odds. So I don't know. I didn't see the movie. I actually have no desire to see the movie. And I think that's what it was. It just, like, the color palette looked all brown and dingy, and it didn't look like a super fun movie. But, the people who have seen it have come back and said it's good. So, that being said, it just didn't do well and it didn't resonate for whatever reason. Grace is the one who brought up Grace from Beyond the Trailer is the one who brought up that it might be the sex factor. And I think there is a little bit of a point to that, but I think it's more of just the franchises. Blah, So I'm going to go back and see what you guys said in the chat about this. I'm going to scrolling up. All right. Unlimited Propaganda said he liked Tomb Raider as well. Great movie. And a friend of mine who saw it said it was really good too. But I'm talking about just why it didn't do well in the United States. I mean, I could go see it and say it. Jody says, "Oh my God, Gary, you're right, man. I love hearing that. Don't hear it a lot in this house." That's I'm just kidding. I didn't even realize that Negan was Clay and Idris Elba was in Losers too. Yeah, go see Losers. Yeah, it's got Idris Elba too, and he is amazing in it. Ghost Roll say, yeah, I was going to say, I don't think this one suffers from the sex factor. I literally think they're trying to push another Tomb Raider movie after the first 2 were meh. Agreed. You had Angelina Jolie in the first 2, and it was weird because Grace at Beyond the Trailer was calling them these really, really big hits, and I don't remember them being really big hits. I remember the first one being a hit, and then the second one wasn't. That's why we didn't get a third. And also, Angelina Jolie was getting very expensive at the time for still not getting paid what the male actors were getting paid. But again, that's Hollywood projecting their crap on us today with this whole pay inequity thing. All I know is where I work, the women make as much and more than the dudes. So especially the women engineers, they make bank. And Hollywood, Jody says Hollywood seems all about whatever sells, and that's true. It's all about commoditizing what's hot and running it in. Problem is nowadays is the writing seems to have gotten lazier and more shallow. It has. There's a lot of reasons for that. They're trying to appeal to a international market, and I'm just going to come out and say it. They dumb down the movies for some of the international markets, which is very disrespectful, in my opinion, to the international markets. China, talking to you, and it's not your fault. I think, sometimes things get lost in a translation, like sarcasm. And so they try to keep that stuff out, like certain humor, because it doesn't translate well. I understand that. But I think if you give it a chance, there's a lot of smart people over there, a lot. So I think you should just make the movies the way you were making them before. I think they're overthinking the whole international thing. And this is why television is better than the movies we're getting now, by far, especially in writing, because it's written for America, and they don't feel the need to dumb it down. I'm not saying they have to. I don't think they should. I think they should write the same way they are writing. But Hollywood's like the end. It's like the end. When a trend happens, Hollywood picks up on it like 2 or 3 years later, pretty much towards its end. So that's why it's always good to keep movies timeless, in my opinion. Don't put too many topical things, because it's in danger of being old by the time it comes out, and then it dates it. And if you want to do a timeless classic, which is pretty much you want every movie to be a timeless classic, you try not to date it. Except when they do like tech films and stuff. The Tomb Raider reboot was all right, but it was a blatant ripoff of the Uncharted series, says Blaze8. Oh, okay. And that's one I know a little bit about. John, our sometimes co-host here, loves Uncharted. Nathan Drake, right? I actually spent like an hour watching him play that game, which tells you it was kind of entertaining. I thought the concepts in that game were very cool. Jody says, Gary, it drew from elements of Rise of the Tomb Raider game. It was a lot more of an action adventure feel to it. You might want to check it out. Maybe for a date night. Yeah. Oh, Mel will check it out for sure. Maybe we will. Well, it's probably going to be something we watch at home, though, to be honest with you. Hey, what's up, Feisty fan? I like the camp factor. And that's cool. That's cool. How's it going, Feisty fan? Okay, so this is a good time to plug, since the wonderful Feisty fan is in here. I'm going to be on a live stream on Thursday with Feisty fan on Comics Division's channel, and we're going to be talking about Marvel's Fresh Start. So we're going to be talking about some of that comic book stuff, which I love to talk about. And I don't talk about a ton on this channel, but former retailer, and Feisty fan works in a shop in a undisclosed location. Pretty much running it now, aren't you? Yeah, she's fun. She's really good on live stream, way better than I am, by the way. Nostalgia Critic totally eviscerated the Jolie Tomb Raider movies. I saw one and I can't remember it at all, like at all. I did watch it though. Maybe I fell asleep or stuff. Mostly for China, says Blaze8. They want their money. Did you? I love what came out of why the Last Jedi didn't do well in China, because there was too many old and ugly people in it. That was what they were saying, and they kind of have a point there. Sorry to say, Adam Driver is handsome in his own way, I guess, in that shirtless scene, which I guess was the first shirtless scene in a Star Wars movie. And he had his pants, like he had old man pants on, like it was up above his belly button, like my grandpa used to wear. Steve Diamond says, like Deadpool says, that's just lazy writing. Jody, he's just a little crosstalk there. All right. A little DNC scrolling up, scrolling down. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's diversity in comics. When he does his live stream, he always goes scrolling up, scrolling down. But I guess it's good to say like what the hell I'm doing instead of uncomfortable sciences. I'm getting way more comfortable at doing this. I still get the jitters, but I'm pretty sure that's from the giant sized dark roast Pete's coffee I just downed. Whew. Man, that stuff is strong. All right. So Jody says, seriously, the Chinese said there were too many old and ugly people in The Last Jedi? Yes. Well, that's what I heard on the internet, and they never lie. You mean how complained about Black Panther having too many African people? Did they? I really like that Black Panther movie, but there's a lot of African people in the Black Panther movie. That cannot be true. Thanks. Feisty Fan says, you're doing great. I love coffee too. Who doesn't love coffee? Oh, actually, Dennis, my co-host, does not like coffee. Thank you, Leon Kennedy. All right, so let's get on to our next. I actually just threw up superhero hype today. There's a new Legion trailer out, and God, I can't wait for this freaking show. Oh my God, I can't wait. There is a great poster they just did. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. They did for Legion. It is beautiful. Boom, boom, boom. Pop it up there. And let's share. It looks super cool. That is just rad. That show is so good, man. Oh, I cannot wait to cover that one. We really kind of dropped the ball because I I didn't know what the hell I was watching. So we liked the first episode, and I know I've talked about this before, so I'm repeating this, but and we hated the second episode. And I learned to like it once I saw it in the context of the whole series, and we really shit on it. And then I watched the next two episodes. I'm like, oh, I was so wrong about this show. I was so wrong. And it is beautiful. Um, it gets the story is great. The acting is phenomenal. It's got some of the best camera work. It's got like musical numbers that aren't stupid, and it does a great explanation of Professor X and fighting the Shadow King on a chalkboard, which is the shit. It is so great. Ghost World says, yeah, finally, I'm watching episode 5 later. Holy crap. Yeah, there's just so many good things, man. So many good things. Dan fucking Stevens, damn straight. That dude is a freaking star in the making. Like, it's brilliant that they got him now before he blows up and becomes like Mr. A-list. Oh, wouldn't Dan Stevens be a fantastic Doctor Who? I think so. I mean, they never get him, and I don't know if they'll ever go back and do a white Doctor Who ever again, but or a white male. But damn, he'd be a good Doctor Who. And the guy who played Dr. Frankenstein in Penny Dreadful, I thought he was damn good too. But I also liked in Counterpart. If you're watching Counterpart, the guy playing Ian, if you want to go, if we wanted to go with a black Doctor Who, he would be fantastic. And I think they should have done that first, but that's just me. If we want to play identity politics, shut up! You're making me excited. I like to make people excited. Male Doctor, how 2015 says Blaze 8. I know, I'm such an old man. We'll see how that turns out. They haven't done Jodie Whittaker any favors at all by taking a break for a year, really going political with it, alienating. I mean, doing everything Marvel was doing in their comics, like alienating fans. Just it's that Ghostbusters marketing technique that works so well. They're continuing to do it. You know, it's very 2015 of BBC to what they're doing. So Jodie Whittaker, I mean, if she pulls it off, it's not because BBC did her any favors at all. So why are they switching to a black Doctor Who? I wish they would. that was, I thought that's what they were going to do. But they didn't. So that's what was shocking. That what was shocking. Yeah, I finally went and watched some of her work, and she's good. She's good. So I mean, I might get swayed on this one. I just hate it. I wish they would create a new character and make her the new character and build on that. Give her her own show, do stuff like that. I don't like that label switching. I'm not a fan of it. If it makes, like if you do it for fun for a little while, it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go down that road, but UK is becoming increasingly crazy, says Blaze 8. I have noticed, and that is my favorite country besides the one I live in. So Broadchurch was awesome. It was dark as hell, but it was awesome. So maybe Chibnall, I always want to call him Chinball, but Chibnall can sway me. I'm pretty easily swayed, though. I really am. You give me one good episode and I'll be fine. I just think what Moffat did towards the end of Doctor Who, again, did not do Whittaker or Chibnall any favors at all. Like, he destroyed Doctor Who. And poor Peter Capaldi, who did a great performance in some schlock. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, what's the next thing we want to talk about here? Okay, so it's out there that we were talking about this earlier. Daredevil not showing up in the MCU. While I understand why they're not going to do it, it doesn't make sense plot-wise right now. And I can't wait for Daredevil. They put up some promotional art today for season 3, which I cannot wait for. Born Again is one of my all-time favorite storylines. It's going to be amazing. And it looks like Daredevil's what Netflix puts the most money into and the most time into, but it's still disappointing that they're not going to be in the MCU, because it wasn't promised, but it was heavily hinted at that this was going to happen. But then Kevin Feige and Perlmutter went to war, and Perlmutter lost, which is a huge thing. And I know I've repeated this before, but he's a board member. He's the boss of Marvel. So they created Marvel Studios, put Kevin Feige in control, when at the time he was just an executive producer who beat a board member. And by all accounts, this board member is crazy. Like, he not forget this. And this war has gone on. Like, Inhumans was made to stick it to Feige in some way. That's what I've heard. They didn't care if it was crap. It was a lot like the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. It was just made to keep something away from him. And now the TV and the movies are forever going to be separate. I know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will hint at what's going in the movies, and they will hint about it in Netflix, but that's it. You're not going to see Avengers Tower that much in the background. And that sucks, because Daredevil, of all of them, and Luke Cage, like, I want to see them like saving some people in Infinity War 4 or in Avengers 4. Just that's it. Like, give me 3 seconds of Daredevil swooping in and saving some people while the shit's going down. And, Daredevil being probably my favorite Marvel character. Spider-Man, my love of Spider-Man has been eroded by some bad writing lately. So I love Daredevil. Holy shit, Gary is live early. Yes, Viking bitch. I actually wake up early in the morning. I know we see a lot of podcasts at night, but I wanted to do something during the day, man. You think I have energy at night? I got energy during the day. I got lots of energy. I went and worked out this morning. So yeah, with the Daredevil thing, it's two executives in an ego war, and the fans lose in this. And this is where, like, if you want to like branch this out to the WB, this is what their biggest failure is, because they don't have these problems right now. Anyway, for the longest time, WB could have had a TV show and a cartoon and a web series and a movie that all tied into the same continuity that could have led up to a big movie. They could have just destroyed Marvel in this, and they didn't. Marvel was separated for the longest time. Now that we got them together, they kind of separated again, which the selling point of the MCU is we're getting more heroes in each movie. Even Black Panther has a bunch of other, even though they're Wakanda heroes, they're heroes. He's surrounded by a super team. So you're not going to see all solo adventures anymore. So as the universe gets bigger, we're going to start wanting to see, I mean, shit. I can't believe, like, we haven't really gotten another Hulk solo movie, and they haven't brought in, like, a good Abomination or Doc Samson or something like that. And we're starting to miss these side characters. Like the Fantastic Four are really missed. So this, when you have Daredevil there, you went as far as to get the rights back. In my opinion, it's still the best thing Marvel has done, which is under Perlmutter's watch, not under Feige. I think Daredevil season 1 and 2 are the best thing Marvel has done. As far as movies, I still like Winter Soldier, Black Panthers up there. Upon my third viewing, I liked it even more. So yeah, I think Black Panther is definitely, I think for me now, it's Winter Soldier. That's still number 1. Black Panther and Avengers. Those are my top 3. I dug Black Panther. It was good. So yeah, I love Daredevil, and I want to see him in the MCU, and we're not going to get it. It's just not, I don't know. Who does TV better, Marvel or DC? DC. If we're going to count Netflix, I mean, just upon Daredevil wipes everything out. Daredevil ruined the CW for me completely. I was trying to think, like, why can't I watch the CW shows anymore? And it's because Daredevil. I'm like, oh, you can do that. And sorry, I was pounding my desk so much that it ruined it for me. I can't go back. I can't go back. Let's go to the chat. Scrolling up. Well, I can't agree with that, Gary. Segregating the Doctor as just for men's only club is sort of wrong. We can agree to disagree. We'll see how it does. Okay. What seems right and how it's executed, it's all depends on how it's executed, but the motivations behind what they did was not for story. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Now, the problem Hollywood finds themselves in right now is they're checking themselves. See, when you're creating things, when you're being a creative, you don't like to be limited by anything. Okay. Art is art, like, you know, making like a Jesus statue and putting it in a jar of piss, as disgusting as that is, it's art. It's art. It's part of a freedom of creativity, and that's what I back 100%. Even if it's shit that disgusts me and that I hate, uh, people can put it out there. I mean, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, I don't care. I choose to not look at it, not buy it if it's something I like. So what's your motivation? Is it political? Is it trend based? Well, the motivation's always money. Okay. That's the realization. If they had, because it is drastic to some fans, I don't find it drastic. I just found it as a weird move that I don't think is going to pay off very well for them. And, especially since they've kind of destroyed the franchise anyway, it'd almost be better if they gave it some time, reset it, and then start with a female doctor, like kind of reboot it, do something like that. But making it within continuity, and I just don't think it's going to end well. I could be wrong, but it wasn't story driven. So that's it. And they could have done a much better job setting up things for Jodie Whittaker. They really effed up Doctor Who. I'm so pissed off about that because I am a huge fan. I'm still going to be a fan. I love the Tennant stuff, love Night Doctor. I'll go back. I love the Fourth Doctor. I'll still be a fan. And, but, if they come out and make a good one, I'll say I was wrong and continue to watch it. It doesn't hurt me if it's wrong. But you can agree, disagree. I totally understand that. I know I'm in the minority on that one. Having her a female of color is fine, but it doesn't make the episodes about it. No, I don't care what color anybody is. That's if people are complaining about that, then we lost me there. Yeah. Dan Stevens as a doctor. Yeah, that would work, but I'd love to see Patterson Joseph play the doctor. He's got the range to do comedy and drama. I might know the face. I don't know that name. Sorry. They mentioned Jane Bond. Heard they're doing a Janie Walker Black Scotch. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. I heard the Jane Bond thing. I mean, it's like an alternate universe thing. Why not? That would be fine. Whatever. I defend Moffat's clever writing and Capaldi as a salty doctor. Great, memorable moments throughout, but it's a losing it's a losing argument these days, says Leon Kennedy. It took me a while to get used to Capaldi, but in hindsight, he was a great doctor. I will not argue with you there. I think he was given some crappy material. But he was like, the more I look back on it, it's like he was the best things in that. And they did him no favors, especially with the companion thing. And I'll defend Moffat on this. Matt Smith and Karen Gillan left a little earlier than they were supposed to stay on for another season, and they had to rewrite a bunch of stuff on the last minute. So that's why so many breaks were happening. So once I heard that one, I'm like, okay, I mean, that's understandable. I shouldn't be that harsh on it because it's hard to, like, you have something completely planned out and then you got to shit can it and do it again. Yeah. They have to just make her the new doc and say, like, yes, what the fuck about it? Exactly. And then write episodes that emphasis, hey, everyone, look at us. We have the diversities. They just need to say, okay, it's like what you just said. She's a girl. And then write good episodes. And then you win everybody over. That's it. That's it. Jody says, I like to believe that they intended to come off as progressive, but they are coming across as gimmicky. Like they are going for ticking boxes off list. Yeah, they're doing that again. And I don't like that. My God, there's other way. I mean, you could still do the exact same thing you're doing, but going out and announcing it like you're ticking off boxes is disrespectful to everybody. Okay. Um, yeah, that's it just turns me off. That's all. For me, it's all about the writing. A strong script can make anything interesting. Agreed. Agreed. Good writing saves everything. I will point out that Alan Moore is not anybody I agree with politically, or I don't believe in witchcraft or wizardry or whatever the hell he's into, but he's a great writer, and I will read anything that guy does. And it's not all of his stuff is perfect, but a lot of it. I mean, he's a nutter. He's a nutter, as you guys say in the UK, but he's a good writer nutter. There you go. Okay. Patterson Joseph. Dennis would love this pick. Patterson Joseph plays Connor Mason on Timeless, but he's done loads of British shows like Peep Show, a British sitcom. Okay, gotcha. Then I've got his face man. Well, I became a fact of Doctor Who when Moffat took over with Matt Smith and Kellen Gill in season 5, so I'm a little biased. It's okay. I was a casual fan until the 11th Doctor as well. I mean, that's when I started really getting into it. And when it hit Netflix and I could watch all the series uninterrupted, and I think this is what made a lot of Doctor Who fans in 2011, 2012. It helped the 50th anniversary. And I think the biggest mistake was them leaving Netflix. I mean, it's on Amazon Prime now, but I don't know. Everybody was watching it. I remember at the comic store, people would just come in and go, man, I just caught Doctor Who on Netflix. It's freaking awesome. And then it took over Comic-Con and it blew up. And that's something they've been wanting to do in America forever. And they kind of pissed it away. And it's all the BBC's fault with weird scheduling. I think Moffat is best supervised. Russell T Davies was the shit. Oh my God, Feisty fan. Shit, I forgot to do Final Cutoff. Don't forget to do Final Cutoff. Do not forget your FOC. That's inside baseball with us retailers. You live and die by the FOC. Don't get FOC'd, or you'll FOC yourself. Yeah, bad comic retailer jokes. So Final Cutoff is on, I believe, well, today's Monday. So you have until a certain time today to do your final cutoff for 2 weeks out, so you can adjust your ordering for comic books. And retailers live off it because you when you order comic books, you literally get down to a single issue. I mean, you've got to be so minute with your money. So you're like, I've got 4 subscribers for Iron Fist, and I sold 4 off the shelf, so I'm just going to order 8. What Final Cutoff kind of does, though, is it kind of keeps the industry stagnant, which I will get into in comics experience, comics. Oh my God, comics experience, comics division's YouTube channel on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Action Comics 1000 is today. Oh, I'm so excited for that. I am. Gary Moffat, a talented writer, but he shouldn't have been handed the keys to the show, so to speak. And that says Jody. I agree with that somewhat. I think he did a good job the first 2 years. What happened was he freaked out on Twitter and quit. And he's really sensitive to criticism. And he was being called sexist. And I think that really got to him. So I think he overcompensated a little bit, and it hurt his writing because he was, again, checking himself. He didn't feel, I mean, you're constrained anyway as a Doctor Who writer, and he was even more constrained by that. So he felt like he had to make, his writing became less natural. And he is a really clever man, like extremely intelligent, wrote some of the best Doctor Who episodes. I don't mean to diss the guy at all. His Sherlock work was mostly great. So I don't know. And he even Tintin. He co-wrote Tintin, what is a movie that I love, by the way. Love that movie. Feisty fan, don't forget today's comic book store's final order for Action Comics 1000, which means that would be extremely helpful to let your local comic shop know today if you want it and which covers. Yes. Today's the last. Remember that, kids, if you're buying comics out there, Monday is a great day to contact your comic store with any changes to your subscriber. In the morning, early as possible, via email. I don't know if you do this, feisty fan, singular. I used to I get my list from Diamond, my bill, copy and paste it without the pricing, and put it in an email every time I got it and send it out to my customers with the new release list. And then they would respond back with additions to their subscriber. It was a great selling tool, by the way. I sold a ton of extra comics doing that. It takes a lot of work because you're on that thing all the time, and then you have all your printouts with people that reply. I would get upwards to 100 replies in the morning. So Tuesday I'd have to like adjust everybody's saver. It was crazy, but it was totally worth it. I think Moffat is the Chris Carter of Doctor Who. That would be the creator of Doctor Who. He has changed the most canon of any other writer, that is for sure. I still love Chris Carter. I think he's past his prime, but I still love him. I do. My God, the X-Files just, even if I'm critical of episodes of the X-Files, it holds such a warm place in my heart. I love that franchise. I love Mulder and Scully. So yeah, I love it. Yes, Moffat had some anti-woman lines in season 6, just as he did 180 into feminism after that, says Leon Kennedy. Yeah. I think he was just trying to be funny, and it didn't come off as funny to some people. But those who try the most fail most. All Moffat's written are written with the same voice. True. Honestly, take the names off the script and they're interchangeable. Yeah. Quippy, smart arses that have that are better than the main character. Yep. And that's what happened after the criticism. And I'm not saying the criticism wasn't warranted. I didn't notice it that much, but I am a dude, so I can't really say shit about that. I have to defer to the ladies on that one, because what doesn't bother me might bother somebody else, and that's I respect that. He should have taken a page out of John Truby's book, The Anatomy of a Story. Maybe he should have helped him write better episodes. I think Moffat's not a lot. When he became the showrunner, I don't know how good of a writing room he ran. Russell T Davies, by all accounts, was a great collaborator. Like, he would listen to people. He was just considered one of the best people at the BBC. Like, really nice guy. He is great with fans. He's really open. And him and Moffat are buddies. And Moffat asked him every year to come back and write, and he wouldn't do it because he was done. Moffat's show in the 90s, Coupling, was a brilliant, though. And it was. I saw that. It was one of the best sitcoms of the era. And I hate sitcoms, and I liked it. Yeah, Feisty Fan. I can talk to you about that on Thursday on how I did it. I just explained it, but it is a great way to remind people to come in, and then they always add stuff. Sometimes they I can't talk now. Sometimes they subtract, but I would say 8 out of 10 times they added to the books. So here, comic retail. I'll rip this off from Ethan Van Sciver. Comic book retailing secrets. Maybe that's what we should call the podcast. Feisty Fan. That's what we should call the one you and I do on our channel. Yeah, totally. Comic book retailing secrets. I got to talk a little comic book stuff. I was on I Love Comics live stream 2 weeks ago. I'll link it in the bottom of this one. I was on the second half last Wednesday. I popped in with Comics Division, and Ethan Van Sciver, the artist, the great, brilliant artist for Green Lantern Corps and Green Lantern, Rebirth, and just a good dude, came on, and we were talking about some stuff. And I was a little starstruck. I kind of, and like some of you people might not know who he is, but he's got a pretty damn big YouTube channel now. He just started in October, and he's got like 20,000 subscribers. And he shows the artist process, and he's soft spoken, and he's a really, really nice guy. And said I had a good podcasting voice. So I got Star Trek. Thanks, dude. You're awesome on Green Lantern. Remember when you wrote or drew Green Lantern? You were awesome. But chatted with him for like a half an hour, and it was so cool. And I was watching a video of his today, and he's doing a reverse swapping thing. So he does instead of Rainbow Bright, he drew Rainbow Brute, which is like a barbarian in a rainbow armor. And he's like killing a giant Care Bear or something like that. It was the funniest goddamn thing I'd ever seen. I want to see that comic, Rainbow Brute. Even great writers go through terrible scenes and scripts to get good stuff. Davies is just as guilty. Leon Kennedy, you are correct, sir. The God, some of the worst two episodes were in my favorite season, which was season oh no, there was the last episode in season 3. I'm forgetting the name now, where the girl drew the pictures and it was her dad coming back. Great concept, didn't execute it very well. And the one that was the contest winner, which had the guy who eats, who was starting a group looking for the doctor, and it was an alien eating other people, and it had the faces in his body and stuff. Those are my 2 least favorite episodes, and that was under Russell T Davies era. They all have stinkers, but we all like to look back on stuff fondly. But it's kind of like not the Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi. That is half a brilliant movie and half a not. Like, Harrison Ford's acting is garbage in it, and Ewoks. And I know some people like Ewoks, but I don't. I wanted it to be Wookiees like it was supposed to be. Hypnotized by the Sunspot. 42? Is that the one you're talking about? Donna. I love Donna. Silver Spike. Oh, Silver Spike. Who's your favorite companion from New Who era? Silver Spike 1 says Donna. It's Donna or Amy Pond for me. Yeah, Jody, I like Amy Pond as well. Karen Gillan is great. She is freaking fantastic. I love her as Nebula, and she was pretty damn good in Jumanji. And if you guys haven't seen Jumanji, could not recommend that movie enough. Dr. Donna for life, says Feisty Van. Hell yeah. Half Wookiee is better than none, says Apple Crow. I don't know about that. I don't know. But I will say the forest battle is my favorite piece of music from John Williams in a soundtrack of Star Wars. And people might think I'm crazy on that one, but big fan of the forest battle and the track that's right before it, where it's a trap. And again, I could do a whole podcast on soundtracks. I am a soundtrack geek. I remember in 1980, it was the winter of 1980, and my sister got tired of me playing the Empire Strikes Back soundtrack at full blast for probably the 20th time in a row. She ran in my room and she did an Almost Famous. She had a stack of records and she laid it on my bed and she's all, turn that shit off and you listen to the Police and Oingo Boingo. And I'm like, all right. So I tried it out and my life was changed forever. I'm like, oh my God, the Police are great. What's this music? What's this rock and roll? And Oingo Boingo's Only a Lad. She gave me Ghost in the Machine, Only a Lad, Led Zeppelin 4, The Clash, a Devo. I can't remember what the Devo was. And some Judas Priest. Now, I didn't like the Judas Priest at first. I was like, no. But Oingo Boingo and Police like blew my mind. I was like, what? And that led into like the punk rocker era for me. I just started going darker from down on. Then I was like descended into the Dead Kennedys and Subhumans and Descendants. I descended into the Descendants. Yes. I love soundtracks, says Leon Kennedy. James Horner. Yes. My favorite, along with side John Williams. James Horner, genius. Absolute genius. I used to love Judas Priest, says Viking Bitch. I grew to like, I like some of their stuff. And knowing now what we all know, that Rob Halford was gay and like all of those song lyrics were about pretty much gay sex, is hilarious. And I think adds to the songs, to be honest with you. I'm your turbo lover. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the first soundtrack that I bought? The first soundtrack that I bought was Star Wars by John Williams. And then that same time I bought and then I bought Jaws that same day too. Because I'm like, my friend was with me. He goes, "Oh, he does Jaws too." I'm like, "Okay." And then I started buying them. Every movie I loved, I have the soundtrack to. I still have the vinyl to most. So yeah. I really love Star Trek: The Motion Picture soundtrack. Jerry Goldsmith, uh, who is brilliant. The Twilight Zone soundtracks are the original ones. Were, oh my god, my favorite one is "Nervous Man in a $4 Room," which is like this weird jazz going on the whole time, and it's just one dude in a room talking to himself in a reflection for an hour. It's one of the hour-long ones. That is such a goddamn great Twilight Zone. Rod Serling introduces it. You got to, and this is in the 50s, by the way. They're panning down on the hotel room from the ceiling, and Rod Serling comes out on the wall and walks up to you and goes, "Picture a man in a $4 room." You know, yeah. And it's basically the Twilight Zone where the dude's an alcoholic and a total screw up at his reflection, looks back and goes, "You know what? It's my turn now. I've been in this mirror this whole time and you've been fucking up. I can make our life better. So why don't you come in here and I'll go out there?" And he's just him going over his life. And yeah, good shit. It's not one you see on the top 10 all the time, but it's really a good one. I don't remember that Twilight Zone episode. Well, because it's one of the, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it is season 4. It was either season 4 or 5, where there were the hour-long episodes, and they don't repeat those a lot. Twilight Zone Companion, one of the greatest books ever. I'm blanking on the author's name, but he has a YouTube channel called Mr. Sci-Fi. Jody loves Jethro Tull. Yep, Jethro Tull's great. Oh, I turned into a like straight up music head. I worked in record stores pretty much my entire adolescence, and that's what taught me how to retail in comics. So yeah, all about the retail. Too old to rock and roll, too young to die. That's right. I gave it the best effort at dying young. I really did. But as usual, I screwed that up too. So good thing. An American Tale from James Horner was possibly the first soundtrack CD I listened to. That moment I realized that he did music for Wrath of Khan and that film composer was a profession. Yeah. It got me into classical music, and I don't know. I listen to as many soundtracks now. I got it. So the guy who I'm gonna butcher his name, but the guy from Game of Thrones does a great job, and Westworld is so good as far as modern soundtracks are concerned. I'm still listening to Westworld. 1968 Planet of the Apes, says Steve Nyman, best soundtrack. That is a damn good soundtrack. I'm not going to argue with you at all. I still listen to Daft Punk's Tron soundtrack. I think that is so freaking great. Mark Mothersbaugh, Thor Ragnarok, great soundtrack. That was the first really good MCU soundtrack. And it's I bought the guy who did Game of Thrones did Iron Man 1. I have that one, but Clockwork Orange soundtrack is awesome. JP, it is so weird. I love that movie. And that's another movie you could not make today under any circumstances. Which sucks. I mean, it's very dark material, but you got to show that in film. For one, if you don't show it, then people don't know what it's like, and sometimes you need to show something to know what it's like and to be horrified. You need to be horrified once in a while. John Carpenter, everything John Carpenter does, you're not going to get an argument out of me. The man does it. The man directs the films and does his own music, and he's touring. He just was in San Diego. Dennis said, my co-host Dennis. It's Ramin Dawadi. Am I saying that right? Ramin. Yes. He is. Oh my God. Game of Thrones is that helps it so much. When sorry, spoilers, when Daenerys it's the next morning at the end of season 1, and the smoke clears, and she's got the dragon on her shoulder, and the music for that, and Jorah like kneels before her, and the music for that is, oh my God. That's how you end a first season of television. That is just fucking great. Ramin is brilliant, Gary. He also did he did Game of Thrones, Iron Man, and Westworld. No, I did the dumbest thing, one of many. So after I saw a game, and I saw it air live, I got so excited. I went on Facebook, and I'm all, I'm sorry, this is going to be a little objectifying to the ladies, so I'm going to apologize in advance. I was younger, not much younger, but young enough. I just wrote, naked women walking out of fire with dragons on their shoulders. I'm in. And then I put it on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, that might be a giant spoiler to some people. And I had to delete it. But a couple people saw it and yelled at me. I got excited. Oh, I can't wait for Westworld either, Blaze 8. That is going to be good. Jonathan Nolan is as good as his brother as far as storytelling. And what a missed opportunity. And nothing against Zack Snyder, but Chris Nolan really wanted his bro to write and direct Man of Steel. And now that I see Westworld, really wish I would have got it. But I don't want to disrespect Lisa Joy, who I believe is his partner and his writing partner. And she does half the load, and she is amazing too. I know. Tisk tisk. I'm such a bad boy. Yeah. So yeah, soundtracks. See, I get started on soundtracks, and there we go. Twilight Zone, Nervous Man, a $4 room. So it was a half an hour episode. Season 2, episode 3. Thank you very much, JP. I don't have my Twilight Zone companion within. And you know what? There was a time I would have remembered that completely. I would have remembered like who wrote that one and who did, the music and who directed it. Cause I read the Twilight Zone companion cover to cover about 50 times, but it was like 20 years ago. I've slept since then. Abercrow says, I don't think that's worse than Claire chained. I don't think it's worse than Claire chained MILF quip last night. Well, I was responding to a chat. Okay. So yeah, the fact it's like, give that woman some pants. Gary, as long as you're not describing tits while biting your fist, you're fine. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. And old married guy here, boobs are boobs. They're just a part of a woman's body, Michael, okay, Gia, I'm terrible with names. It's an Italian last name. Michael Giacchino is amazing as well. First love his music and Lost, and then the films he's done since. Admirable job in Rogue One. Very good job in Rogue One. That is a good soundtrack. That is a very good soundtrack. I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who does Counterparts music is great. Jeff Russo. Jeff Russo's doing Counterparts music, and that makes that show. A lot of cellos, a lot of strings. I love that shit. Thank you, Steve. Mark Zickery, Twilight Zone companion. Yes, Mr. Sci-Fi is his YouTube channel. It's actually pretty good. He's doing a web series called Space Command with Doug Jones in it. So I'm going to check it out. It's being crowdfunded right now, and I guess it's getting a lot of money. So, and he's written some really good Star Treks, and he's done a lot of TV writing. And his channel is actually pretty informative about the writing process. I find him to be very cool to watch. Yeah. And plus I was just in love with this book. So, and he plugs the hell out of his stuff, as he should. OG Star Trek TV soundtrack is so good. I just see Captain Kirk like doing his little knife cut on somebody's shoulder, knocking him out. He did Spider-Man Homecoming, Coco, and Ghost Protocol. Yeah, he did. Wow, he did a lot of stuff. That is a busy man right there. Uh, Blumhouse is redoing John Carpenter's Halloween. Good luck. I don't know. Blumhouse is pretty good though. So if anybody should do it, they should do it. Okay. So other stuff we can talk about here. Oh, I think this is a bit of a stretch, but Comic Book Cast 2 was talking about somebody else talking about Scott Eastwood talking about. That's why I'm wearing my Logan shirt today. Scott Eastwood wants to play Wolverine. If Scott Eastwood was in Suicide Squad and everybody was thinking that he might be a secret Robin, possibly, I think he would be a good Nightwing. I don't know how good his acting is though. He looks the part. As far as Wolverine, again, Scott Eastwood, it looks a lot of parts. I just don't know how well he acts. But if we can get his dad to direct Wolverine, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Clint Eastwood doing Wolverine. But I want Wolverine to be 5'3", stocky, kind of ugly. I don't want a handsome Wolverine. I want a gruff, short. I mean, Tom Hardy, even though he's already doing Venom, I don't care. Tom Hardy should play Wolverine. Tom effing Hardy. Oh my God. How did I forget that, Jody? I am a bad person. Murray Gold on Doctor Who is fantastic. I can't believe I own all the soundtracks. They are actually, well, you can't see, but they're right over there. Listen to them all the time. The build up from Turn Left, the music from that, and the right when he sees the Bad Wolf everywhere. I love that. Is my favorite ending. Well, that and the Master reveal in Utopia. The ending of those two shows is some of the best endings in television, of just like, what the fuck? But with the Bad Wolf showing up everywhere and the music, and it's like, oh man, see, I get goosebumps talking about it. I do. I get I don't know. I really get into the music. I do. Peter Dinklage for Wolverine. Hell yeah. Why not? That would be, honestly, he should play Puck. I know for obvious reasons, a little too on the nose, but yeah, Peter, he would rock it. What the hell? That'd be a real Wolverine for sure. But Tom Hardy. Yeah, I got a little bit of a man crush on Tom Hardy. It takes a few listens, a lot of good soundtracks, but there are powerful recurring themes in Rogue One original soundtrack. The Shield's Gate Down gets me misty-eyed. See, I love a person who can admit getting misty-eyed from a soundtrack. I am the same. Thank you. Yes. What gets what is okay, the Raiders of the Lost Ark soundtrack. It doesn't get me misty-eyed, but the map room, holy shit, that is good. That is good. Oh, and the ET soundtrack, in the very beginning, the chase from the beginning is John Williams kind of at his best. Tom Hardy can play Wonder Woman. I'd be okay with that. I mean, he can play anybody. I challenge you to play I Am the Doctor and do something mundane and not feel like you're doing something epic. Totally, right? Oh my God. Yeah. That is good. The build up to the end at the end of oh my God, why am I spacing on it now? The End of Time Part 1. The build up when the master's like revealing his plan and Doctor's figuring out the master's plan is so good. Oh my God. I forgot the name of the track though. Murray Gold's Doctor Who. He's not. Murray Gold is not coming back. Ooh, that is a loss. He's not going to be doing Chibnall's Doctor Who. Wow. Wow. That's not good. I do like some Zimmerman. Yeah. There's, I don't know. I own so many soundtracks now. It's the thing. I still buy them. I buy hard copies of that crap. I'm buying more vinyl. Tom Hardy for Spider Jerusalem. Oh my God, yes. That'd be great. And he would like really shave his head. Like so many actors will put on like the bald cap. No, he would really shave his head and go like full on for that. All right. So I got sidetracked there. They wanted a new broom sweeps clean approach for the new Doctor Who season. I'm afraid. Yeah, that makes sense. They want to have a different sound of it and everything. I wonder who they're going to get. Hard act to follow again. I would have kept him. You want to keep some kind. Well, they didn't get rid of everybody. Like half the production crew is staying on. So, I actually thought of it. My favorite score and soundtrack of any movie is Akira. Again, that's cool. I like Akira. I got in trouble for that one time. I've told that story before, though. Got wrote up for playing that at the wrong time. I feel old just talking about CDs, but those $16 soundtracks back in the day were gold to me. Oh my God. Yeah. I love I don't know what New Music Day is now, but it used to be Tuesday and I couldn't wait for Tuesday. And that's when the videos would come out too. The original soundtrack for Akira was done by Gino Yama Shirogami. I gotta say Japanese names slowly once. So Yama Shirogumi. One of my best friends' name is Akemi Tamarabuchi. She's awesome. C2. The Dark and Endless Night by that's it. The Dark and Endless Night by Murray Gold during the Dalek Crucible scene and Journey's End feels operatic. Oh, that wasn't the you're right. God, what was the name of that one soundtrack? It's gonna be on me now, but no, that you're right. You're right. I can't believe I forgot Murray Gold. He should go off and do movies now. He's that good. Even his Capaldi era stuff was good. So Peter Dinklage was Trask, yes, and he's going to be in Infinity War playing Dwarf, I believe. When Thor goes and gets his new weapon, it's going to be he's going to probably forge it himself. What you see in the teaser, he's holding those two rings, and he's obviously making something. And at the end of the Infinity War trailer, you see him put his hand up, and a bunch of lightning comes out. They digitally removed whatever his hammer is there. I don't know why they did that, but they did. But that was my favorite part in the Infinity War trailer. I know I'm repeating myself here, but because it got Groot and Rocket's attention, and they were looking in awe. And how often does Rocket look at anything in awe? So I thought that was cool. Okay, so I'm gonna like mine some news here. Let's do that. I gotta find my web page though. There we go. Oh, this is good news. Let's read this. I'll share it and we can read it together. After I just shit on a bunch of CW stuff, they just pulled me back in. If this is true, Matt Ryan to return as series regular on Legends of Tomorrow. So I guess we're getting another season. Good news, Constantine fans. Matt Ryan's Constantine is set to return as a series regular on CW's Legends of Tomorrow. If the series is renewed for a fourth season. Ryan, played by the titular, that's a bad word, DC Comics character in on DC's live action series Constantine, on NBC's live action series Constantine, which I love. But the show was canceled after one season because they're idiots. Ever since the cancellation, Ryan has remained committed to the role of John Constantine and voices the role in the animated series Constantine, which will debut on the CWC digital platform on March 24th, which I will be covering here. Dennis will probably join me for that. Ryan's character appeared in the fourth season of CW's Arrow before booking 2 arcs on the Legends of Tomorrow. And it sounds like as long as a renewal is announced, the character has found a permanent new home. Legends of Tomorrow showrunner Phil Klemmer stated a few months ago that they knew an alienated, chain smoking, bisexual, world weary demonologist would feel right at home among our legends. Well, the key word there is never mind. You all know what the key word there is. um, you see how they describe that? These are superheroes. These are freaking superheroes. Okay, so the show recently lost series regulars Wentworth Miller, Victor Garber, and Franz Drama this season, Drame maybe this season, and Ryan's new status would help replenish those roles should the series come back for a 4th cycle. Now this is part of the show too. They just run people in and out, and some of the new characters they came in were super bland, and that's just the impression I got from watching the Constantine episode. While there has been no official announcement made yet, Legends of Tomorrow is expected to return and has been a steady series for the network, especially after CW announced that it is expanding to a 6th night of programming for 2018-2019 season by adding Sundays to the mix, which is interesting because network TV is on a downswing and CW doesn't, like, in a very large city of San Diego, California, you can't get it over the air in some places. Based on the characters from DC's Legends of Tomorrow is from Bonanza Productions Incorporated in association with Berlanti Productions and Warner Brothers Television. Executive producer Greg Berlanti, blah, blah, blah. Credits, blah, blah, blah. Are you excited to see Matt Ryan return as Constantine, as a series regular? Yes. And no. I mean, I'm glad he's back. I wish he wasn't in that show. I wish he was in a show of his own. That would be my, if you really want to hear what I really want. But apparently the ratings were good enough. So he's coming back. What do you guys think? Like, is it going to make you, have you stopped watching the CW? Are you still watching the CW? Are you going to watch this? I guess I'm going to now. So damn. Let's go to the, I was so clickbaited right there, right? Says Ghost World. Damn, I miss Constantine. Thank the God, says Jody. Still wish Sci-Fi would just revive Constantine TV series. For one, they're NBC, and they would do it right. They would do, I mean, like, look what they did with Happy. By the way, reading through the Constantine comics, how is Constantine related to Swamp Thing? What is their relationship? Ask Ghost World. Constantine made his first appearance in a Swamp Thing. And he Gaiman made him part of the whole Endless Circle too. But yeah, Constantine popped up in Saga of the Swamp Thing when Swamp Thing was pretty damn amazing. Which Swamp Thing is always your go-to when you go, well, a good writer can write anything. So let's take the weirdest character that wasn't selling any books, that was just a horror character that was like a ripoff of an EC character, and let's see what we can do with it. And Alan Moore took Swamp Thing to like this ethereal place. It was really, really psychedelic and surreal and good storytelling. And it was firmly planted in the DC universe. The only thing we missed was I wish we would have gotten the Swamp Thing meet and Jesus story that DC cut out from. But that's where Constantine came from. He showed up in Swamp Thing. So that was his first appearance. So they're always connected. And Neil Gaiman really brought Constantine up too when he brought him up. He's in the Books of Magic. If you've read Books of Magic by Neil Gaiman, it is a great comic book. It predates Harry Potter, but you will notice some eerie similarities. He's a teenage wizard who is going to be the best of his kind, which is
a little different from Harry, but he's like going to be this very powerful wizard. So all the endless come down and try to recruit him. And he rides a skateboard and has a big white owl and wears and is a short hair brunette kid with round glasses. Yep. So I don't know. Gaiman, I don't think he's ever sued J.K. Rowling. I think he just, thought, well, it's a coincidence and was a man about it. And I like that. So, but Tim Hunter is his name. Books of Magic, great original. It's a 4-issue like maxi series. It's pretty cheap if you want to find it on eBay or go find it digital. Highly recommend that. That's some of Gaiman's best work. I think after I get through the first few volumes of Hellblazer, I'll go back and check them out. Yeah. Hellblazer's it's an inconsistent comic. But the first, I pretty much love the first 4 volumes. Storytelling gets in and out. Garth Ennis comes in, does some great work. The art in it's amazing. I love that 80s style of art with the brighter colors and kind of sketchy style. It was very cool. I think first food. Okay. You know what I would love to see? Constantine and Harry Dresden team up. Hell yeah. Do a buddy wizard cop series. Fuck yeah. Alan Moore is the hold my beer version of Crazy Genius. Totally right. Hold my mead. That's what he would say. I love for him to adapt Books of Magic and Sandman into a TV show. Hell yeah. Books of Magic would. I'm surprised that, you know what? They probably can't now because it looks way too much like Harry Potter, just on the surface level. Well, if you change Tim Hunter's look, make him a little Asian kid or something like that, and that changes it. Yeah, the art is so good. Lots of work and deep shading. Yeah, I love that stuff. They're right over there. They're in my Hellblazer. I love my Hellblazer trades. I have all the comics too, but I don't want to read them. You know what I mean? I think Gaiman had to do something to defend his IP though, because some overzealous Potter fans keep asserting he ripped off Rowling's Potter. I know, and you just got to remind them, like when Books of Magic came out and when it was conceived. That's the most important part, because the Books of Magic came out in the very early 90s, but it was conceived in the late 80s. So, and it came out before. What year did the Sorcerer's Stone come out? Like 95, 6, something like that. But Tim is an OG boy wizard, Gary, and he has an owl too, right? Yes, he does. He has a white owl. He has glasses, he looks just like Harry Potter. That's why when I saw Harry Potter, I'm like, this is the Books of Magic. Like, what? She totally ripped him off. But I love Harry Potter. So LOL, no, Gary. Not everyone be like, oh, wait, let's make SJW out of Books. Oh, God, they would. You're right. They'd be all SJW, Books of Magic. My Comics Gator crowd, there are some I vehemently disagree with, and there's some I agree with. The ones I agree with are all on story merit. That's the only thing I give a shit about. And some of the storytelling is fucking awful. Oh my God. But some is really good. I almost wanted to do a comic review today, but I won't. I'll spare you of that. I might save that for another day, but that Avengers book I read was so fucking good. I don't know if you're still here, Feisty fan, but man, Avengers, the Hulk, the Banner one, him come back. Holy shit, that was good. Sorcerer's Stone was published June 26, 1997. Yeah, and Books of Magic came out in, I think, 1993. My God, I'm old, says Apple Crow. No, you're not. No, you're not. Dennis is old. We'll all just agree Dennis is old. He's not here. I hope he's watching. How's work, honey? They made a Swamp Thing movie. Wasn't bad. You're right. Adrienne Barbeau was in it. And it was actually a very good movie. I liked it a lot. The Man-Thing movie was very bad. Very, 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 very bad. But yet I own it. So Yeah. So that's Constantine on the Legends of Tomorrow. That's fantastic. Uh, so make sure you can still see me. All right, then we're gonna go. Cloak and Dagger poster revealed. Trailer out tomorrow. Is anybody excited for Cloak and Dagger? I really love them as characters. Black Panther was the #1 movie again. Infinity War advanced ticket sales break first day record. That is like the most unsurprising news. Ooh, Westworld set photos. Let's look at those. Let's look at some Westworld set photos. Share. All right. Saddle up. Wow. They really went there, didn't they? With the new Westworld season 2 photos. That one thing about the show is like, how long can you call it Westworld? I think you can get one more season out of it, and then like they either got to reset everything or they're going to be going to other places, and you could just keep the name. That's fine. All right, we got to get some. Okay, so we got the same picture. There's Dolores. Oh, here we go. We can go to a little slideshow. So she lives. That's interesting. That's a real set photo. The man in black. There he is. And yeah, they just look like real set photos with like people on sets. Oh man, I cannot wait for this show. Oh, that's different. Huh. So apparently this season is just going to be complete chaos, like a total shit show. So ooh, look at what's coming behind him there. He was such a good Felix Leiter. I would see a movie with him as Felix Leiter. And Danny Boyle's doing James Bond 25. I'm excited about that. That's going to be good. Yeah, Westworld's dope. Everything's great about that show. Some of the best rewatchability too. Let me go find my window with the chat again. I just lost you. Boom, boom. There you are. I'm working off one computer today, not 3. Future World spinoff. Oh, God. Yeah, well, HBO better do something. And this is where I think they rushed the ending to Game of Thrones, and I'm worried about the future of Westworld because of the AT&T Time Warner deal that's kind of on and off, and HBO is part of this. So all these Game of Thrones spinoffs, I don't think they're an absolute sure thing. It depends on how this sale goes down and if things get broken off into pieces. I think enjoy Westworld. That's all I'll say. It is amazingly expensive. And I hope nothing ever happens to it. But I would love Danny Boyle's versatility. Great choice for James Bond. I think he's a perfect choice for James Bond. I think he's fun. And I want to see a fun James Bond. I really do. Hello, 899. How you doing, man? Or woman, I don't know. I just assumed your gender. I apologize. Hello, person. Yes, this is the Monday live stream where I just ramble on with some of my favorite people on the internet. Are we internet friends now? Do I have internet friends? I was never a guy who did forums or anything like that. I never commented on other people's videos. I did get really into Twitter in 2008 and 9 and have some very salty tweets from 2008 to about 2011. And it digressed into some like bad stuff. So had to quit the Twitter. Just because I try to. I'm older and nicer now, but I used to get pretty salty. But it was all about comic book stuff. And also nobody can hear sarcasm. So like when like Dennis and I give each other a ton of shit, but like we've known each other so long, it's really nothing personal. We're like brothers. I mean, it's like, I mean, we'll argue about the dumbest shit, but like it's completely out of love. Dennis is one of the best friends a guy could ever have. Really, one of the most loyal, best, trusting friends a guy could ever have. But we give each other a lot of shit because it's fun, and that's what dudes do. But when you do it on Twitter, people can't hear that sarcasm, and I wasn't really getting that. They really need a universal. Is there a universal sarcasm sign out there? That I'm just too old to internet this whole thing. But yeah, I just said, nah, it's enough. And it was sucking a bunch of my time. But there's a couple things that like distracted me from the store, and Twitter was one of them. And actually, there's a lot of comic creators who are on Twitter way too much. They need to stop. It does suck your time creatively. And then City of Heroes. Remember that game come out? Oh my God. I was ignoring customers in the store. I was like, God, you can steal whatever you want. Fucking playing City of Heroes. Love that game. Man, that was a good game. Oh, he did? Oh, I thought I saw a notification. I will check after this podcast. I have been super busy since that. Today is my day where I'm going to go over comments and everything when I'm done here. And I meant to respond to them, but I got, okay. It's super. When I say super busy, I dusted this room yesterday. It's like once a year I dust this room, and it is a project from hell. It's all playful banter, but some people were really like, are you serious? I'm all, no, I'm not serious. But some of it could have been taken it was just not good. We'll just say that. It sounded funny as hell in my head, and it just didn't turn out that way. It might have been funny, like spoken, but not typed. So we learn from our mistakes, right? We do. You can dig through if you really want. I mean, it's hard to dig through on your Twitter. I don't want to bring that shit up with. So yeah, I was actually working on editing Patreon videos and getting those ready to go. So, and I turn everything off when I'm editing. So I did see a Doomcock notification, but I thought it was just like him putting up another video, but I guess he was responding to me. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for pointing that out. They need a sarcasm emoji, right? I think it's too late for that, though. Oh, is that it, Apple Crow? It's what I've seen before for sarcasm. Okay, that's a good one. Oh, shit. Really? Doomcock asked to chat with me this week? Oh, man, I suck. Okay, I will get back to thank you for wow, right on. Oh, dude. Oh my God, I would love to get him on. Love to get him on. Doomcock. Okay, so we're talking about Victor von Doomcock. It's an Overlord DVD is his YouTube channel, and if you like Star Trek Discovery, don't go there. It will not be a place you enjoy. He eviscerates Star Trek Discovery and some other stuff. He just did a great video on what the topic I was talking about earlier on, like how the writer for Black Panther dissing Iron Man. And he explains much better than I, like how this is going to be a problem in the future for Hollywood if they're going to start checking themselves on, like, you can't even show a character being sexist at some point to allow him to redeem himself or herself by the end of the movie. So how are you going to do a redemptive arc if you can't show anybody doing anything bad? You know what I mean? And that's where this is the rabbit hole we're going down. Like, okay, you don't want to depict certain things in films anymore. Okay, where do you stop? Like, I can agree on some stuff, but like, where do you stop? And then that's the point, is like, once you start putting limits on something, you like, generally people or entities don't stop putting limits on things. And then you just get homogenized garbage. And that's what I'm worried about with Blade and Moon Knight on this Disney streaming service. Like, Blade and Moon Knight should be hard R's. They are not kids shows. That's your adult superhero stuff. And we're not going to get that. We're going to get a PG-13 Blade. He's going to fight silly vampires and not like badass ones. And we're not going to get, his name is Blade. He cuts things up. Are we going to see that on the Disney streaming service? I'm a little skeptical about that. If they could surprise me and go, it's our streaming service and here's our 18 and up part, I just don't think that'll happen. I just don't think that'll happen. And Moon Knight, my God, that is so tailor-made for a great Netflix series. If they put a little money into it. One of the subjects I'm going to throw in here now is, does anybody remember Jessica Jones? Came out a couple weeks ago, or maybe not even 2 weeks ago. Does anybody remember it? I don't see much talk about it anymore. What I mean that is the worlds I travel, or I still look at Twitter and YouTube, and it's just the chatter on it has completely died down. And this is my argument for not dropping everything at once. I just think I think Netflix can do it right now because they're kind of swimming in money, so they don't need to worry about the little stuff. But in the future, they're going to really have to think about spending a bunch of money on something, putting it all out at once, and then it getting consumed so fast that it doesn't bring people in for the long haul. It doesn't bring eyes in and, like butts in the seats or eyes on the screen for the long haul. It doesn't have, us talking about every episode. And I think they need to factor not our channel, but YouTube into everything now. It's like, if we release something once a week, or maybe you do it twice a week, why does it have to be all at once? Why can't we just release something every other day? I don't know. And it's Netflix. You can do whatever the hell you want. And that way you can factor in people recapping, people talking about your shows, because that is great free advertisement. And big channels still do that stuff, and they do the shorter, we're more long form, but they do the little quick 8 to 10 minute reviews. That is an 8 to 10 minute free commercial for the most part, unless you put out something really crappy. But most of these channels slant towards the positive, especially the bigger ones, because they want to have access to your stuff. So that's why I wouldn't do that. I think Jessica Jones has been completely forgotten, and that sucks. Again, I like that character. I wasn't a big fan of season 2, but Kristen Ritter's great. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea. Let's go back here and see what the people have to say. Jody says, "Oh man, can't wait to see Doomcock and Neurotic on a podcast together. It would be legendary." I don't know about he will be legendary. He's smart. He's very smart. What he does is well thought out, and I haven't disagreed with him once. I mean, like, he hates Star Trek more than I do. I don't. Yeah, I kind of hate it. I tried to find the good in it, but I think he was way better at his reasoning. So if I was to argue pro Star Trek against his negative, he would kill me. Jordan Kaminsky says Blade has to be a hard R. I'm terrified how Disney's going to approach films that should be rated R. As you should be. This is going to be a huge flaw, because Fox has showed us that the hard R superhero movie not only works, it works really well. And maybe we need to rethink this whole it's for kids thing. I think comics has had to do that for a long time, for a long, long time. I mean, we need, children are the future. That's what Whitney used to say. But sometimes they're not the present. Star Trek Discovery is how I found Doomcock. Yes, I found Doomcock because Midnight Edge, who were doing some great work on digging up like all the problems in production, one of the hosts shouted him out, and I just like, Doomcock, that's a great name. And then I saw like what he was doing was a whole like, I don't want to call it a shtick, a great production value. I love his mask. And Harvey Cthulhu in an interdimensional tank, and talking about movies with this Dr. Doom guy. and the voice is fucking awesome. It's so funny. And when he cusses in the voice, like that no good son of a bitch, you know, it leaves me in tears, man. The kids have enough entertainment, right? Little bastard time sucks. They don't watch that crap anyway. I mean, like they're on YouTube all the time. I mean, Disney XD should just be a YouTube channel right now. He kept showing up in my recommended, and I was like, what cringy shit. Oh my God, this is awesome. I know, right? The first 5 minutes I watched it, I'm like, this is brilliant. How does he only have, at the time, I think it was 500 subscribers. I'm like, this, you're catching a guy right before he gets fucking monstrously huge. I give it like 6 months to a year. Maybe the next time Star Trek comes out, with the production value, it kind of hinders your ability to put out videos daily. And you know, I don't know, he's probably got a day job too, like I do. So it's hard to commit yourself as much, but he's got good like merchandise. He's got good branding. He's doing it right. He's doing it right. So I have no doubt he's going to be monstrously huge. And he's funny. The most important part is you got to be funny. And he cracks me up, man. He does. Apple Crows, I'm a proud owner of a Doomcock fan club ID number 2. I will be joining his Patreon today. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and back Doomcock. Back the cock. Okay. I've had some really great conversations with Doomcock. He's more open-minded than this character lets on. Oh yeah, totally. We he's all about storytelling. That's what I like. And what Star Trek has become, he couldn't be more right. And they missed the boat. It was non-Star Trek people taking a crack at Star Trek and doing it very badly. Feisty fan finished her FOC, and it was so entertaining listening to you. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks. Have you seen Vox's Productions reviews with the Professor Tosspot puppet? His smack talk, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi reviews are hysterical. I will check it out. I have not seen it. I will check it out though. Yeah. Viking Bitch says, "Do Talk Patreon is really good." Yeah, something I need to aspire to. Gary, what if he's on one of your Friday podcasts? I would love to have him. I'll ask him. I know people just want to come off, but I will ask him to come on. If he's willing to, the door is always open to him, but I'm going to be small potatoes to him pretty soon. So yeah, I'll definitely, I love the guy's work. Uncomfortable silence while I read some comments. Hi, everybody. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. We do need a forum though. Patreon comment section can only do so much. Yeah. I'll work on that. All right. We do have the Facebook group. I don't know how well that works. If not, then I can create a forum for you guys. There's a Discord, right? Isn't that kind of a forum-y thing? I'll look into that. Again, old man, some stuff is getting past old man Gary here. So, I don't know if we can do something on Reddit. I don't know, maybe a Reddit. Like, you guys tell me what works for you, and I'll do it. Yeah, we need a place where we could talk more, and I'll get on there too. I just been the Patreon thing has been tough for me because of what limited time I have. But Dennis has taken a little off my plate for doing the Facebook stuff, so I can do the Patreon stuff now. Uh, thanks. Who will win the fight beyond who would win in a fight? Batman Beyond or Spider-Man 2099? Ooh. Batman Beyond. Terry McGinnis, because he's trained by Bruce Wayne. The Bruce Wayne factor. I would say if there was no Bruce Wayne, it was just McGinnis on his own, I'd have to give it to Spider-Man 2099, but I'm going to say Batman Beyond. What your thoughts? Live from New Rock Stars. New Rock Stars. Discord is a great hub, says Apple Crow. So is that something I should do? Emergency Awesome. I watch Charlie. That's actually the first. Charlie's what got me rethinking, like thinking I want to maybe do something on YouTube. And actually, the way I do my thumbnails was slightly ripped off from Charlie. I like the way he does his thumbnails. I try to keep mine really simple and not as busy. You see my new thumbnail for today's live stream, by the way. That's the other piece of Derek's work I have. So that's another version of Cosmic Crater Girl he did for us that was supposed to be part of a new Comic Outpost logo. And it looks a little rough because I colored it, and that's not like a totally 100% finished version of my coloring. And I haven't told him that I colored his work. It really feels like I desecrated some of Derek's work. But yeah. Gary, the Facebook group is great, but I eventually need more people. I think eventually more people will post on there. I need to get on there too more. I'm still working out my schedule in my new job. I'm working longer at this new job than I was at my old job. So it takes me an hour to get there and an hour to get back. So it's like 12 hours of my day is gone. So I'm supposed to be moving to San Francisco in my new job within a month, which will free up a ton of my time. We'll see if that promise gets kept. But I've lived too long to believe promises in my industry. We'll just say the industry I'm in right now. But yeah, I definitely need to get off that commute train soon, because every time I go over the Golden Gate Bridge, it's like $6. So it gets expensive. And I drive kind of a gas guzzler. I don't drive a Prius, so I drive a tank. So you have to up and move everything. What? Oh, no. That's crosstalk. Sorry. Before I have to raid your village. What is going on here? Viking, you don't want Viking bitch to raid your village. I'm just saying. Who will win a fight? The Theory of Everything versus Love Simon. The Theory of Everything, because it's theories. I don't know. So yeah, Discord. I'll check out Discord. I know another guy who I support does Discord. I can't really say who that is though, because he's super duper duper edgy and not for everybody. I will pray to the Norse gods for you, Gary. Thank you. Oh no, Gary. I mean, do you have to move your whole life and the family? Just said no. I live in San Fran. So I'm working in San Rafael, which is in Marin County. So I have to cross Golden Gate Bridge every day. We have been thinking about moving from San Fran just because it's this place is freaking expensive. You know, it is. And but that's, you know, that depends on the job. But this job is not one I'm going to be working forever, because I am opening up another comic store sooner than later. That plan has been in the works for 4 years now, and I had a 5-year plan, and we are in year 5. So I took the new job because my last job was starting to suck. So I don't like to put up with sucky things, so I leave. which everybody should do. Plus it's a great hiring market right now here in the Bay Area. It's pretty easy to get a job. Well, not super easy, but if you have a skill set, you can get paid a lot of money for this certain skill set. Is it going to be called the comics repost? That's funny. I'd like to get my old name back. We'll see if that's possible. I'd have to do a lot of groveling and probably pay some money, but I would very much like to get the Comic Outpost back. But if I can't, then I guess it's just going to be called Nerdrotic or something. Nerdrotica. Oh, that'll get the kids in there. I only live where I do my job. It happens. Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, man, I had it with the comic shop. I had it good. I live 2 miles from my comic shop. I rode my bike to work. It was great. Except on New Comic Book Day, you couldn't do that. Got to go pick up the comics. Nerdrotic comics. Problem with that is like there's the nerdrotic and the comics at the end. There's too many icks. That's like calling somebody. That's why I didn't name my kid Peter, because Peter Beekler wouldn't have sounded right. So, I'm at work now. I'm laying in bed, and you're working hard. There you go. That's a job I need. Leanne Kenny. What is your profitable set of skills? Do you kill people like Liam Neeson in Taken? Yes, that's what I do. You caught me. It's really mundane what I do. My skill is super mundane. But it pays the bills. And oh my God, the benefit package I got was awesome. Oh my God. It was worth the job right there. Come for your favorite comics, stay for the argument why it sucks. Oh, that was the truth of more than you know in my comic store. It's funny. I mentioned this in a live stream. I've had to break up my share of almost fistfights inside my store. Things got nuts, man. It's like that escalated quickly. They would yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Jordan, we just talked about that. They announced Constantine as a Legends season 4 regular. That is going to make me watch the show again. I'm back on the damn CW. I don't know if we're going to cover it. We'll see. We didn't get a lot of love in the last time we covered it, but it's probably because we're not covering CW regularly. So fights over Marvel versus DC. Yes, absolutely. Nerd fight. I know, which would be hilarious, right? I should have just let it happen and recorded it. But no, what happens is it would be a fight over a character, and it's not always Marvel versus DC, and then it would just get personal at some point, and then some people have tempers, and they and then, these were usually younger people. I didn't see a lot of 50-year-old guys. If 50-year-old guys are throwing at people over comic book stuff, they would not be allowed back at my store. I'd actually let these guys back at my store though. It just got heated for a minute, and they were friends. That's the funny thing. It's always like two guys who are friends. Are you kidding? Peter Beekler sounds like a superhero. It does, but it's just the at the end, the 2 ERs at the end. It sounds, I don't know. Oh my God. So yeah, I shouldn't even be saying this on the freaking podcast, but yeah, people, when they wanted to give me shit in high school, they called me, cause my name's Gary Beekler. So of course they just reversed the B and the G and they called me Barry Geekler. Yep. So that's probably going to stick in the chat. I understand that, but I was called that so much I'm used to it, but that was back in the day when being a geek wasn't cool. Kind of miss those days, to be honest with you. Kind of miss those days. You ever think, like, if the MCU never happened, how would it affect comic books? That could be a whole video. Like, say the whole MCU thing didn't happen and the comic book movies kind of fizzled out. Like, how would that affect the comic books? I don't think there would honestly be a change at all, because it really hasn't helped too many of them. There's a couple titles that have been increased. The only time I ever saw a movie, quote unquote, move the needle, as they say, for a comic book was actually, it was two during my time. Nope, I'll take that back. Three. And it was all graphic novels. It wasn't floppies. Sin City, 300, and Watchmen. Those three movies, Watchmen was unbelievable. I could not keep them in stock. I was these are graphic novels, so I would order 100 at a time, and they would be gone in a week out of my store. It was nuts. Sin City, I was selling out of those just left and right when that movie came out. Left and right. It might not, like, monetarily might not look like the biggest hit, but when that movie came out, it was a freaking hit. Like, people were going nuts for that movie because it looked exactly like the comics. I still love that movie. And I sold so many Sin Cities, but Watchmen went crazy. And Watchmen's a good selling trade as it is. I would sell 5 a week, 5 to 10 a week in my little store, but I was selling 100 a week. It was nuts, but it killed the sales for the graphic novel. Once the movie came out, then I wasn't selling any. For the first time I was in the store for 7 years at that point, and then it slowed to next to nothing after the movie came out, where Sin City kept going. Uh, Leon asked me, have I ever thought writing a comic book? I have a ton of knowledge. Well, thank you. I'm okay with all, it's funny, owning a comic book store. There's always a bigger fish, and I would get just schooled by some of my customers. I have written a comic. I've written 4 that I've self-published, and I don't know if they'll ever see the light of day again. One will. One of them is a superhero I created, role playing for D&D. I never played D&D, but we role played to create some characters back in the 80s. And it's called Dark Legion. And it's kind of God, stop me if you've heard this one before, but it's, I wanted to take, a ghost, a witch, and Frankenstein and turn them into superheroes, which I did. And of course, the Frankenstein was a government project, and remember, I created this in the 90s. So, and our main character, who, like, even though technically he would be called Dark Legion, that's just the name of the book. Our main character didn't have a superhero name. His name was just David. And Opal was the witch character, and she could summon. She became so powerful that they and this sounds horrible, by the way, they couldn't kill her, but they removed her vocal cords, so she couldn't summon stuff. So she's mute, she can't talk, but sometimes she would communicate by cutting people up and writing stuff on the walls with their blood and stuff like that. There's some crazy shit in my head. And then we created Mist, who was from the Philadelphia experiment. So he was on the ship for the Philadelphia experiment, and he fused with he fell off the ship as the ship disappeared, and he fused with the water, and he's stuck between dimensions. So he's like a ghost, but he's like a water ghost. And he is our kind of Loki character, where he'll sometimes help you and sometimes not. And I was super edgy. I made him gay because he was a sailor. And so he's in a he's not in a white Popeye sailor's uniform. He's so his clothing is like the pea coat. He's in a pea coat, and in the darker naval uniform for the winter and water. So he's stuck in that uniform, but he can, like, there's scenes where there's a couple of glasses of water on the table, and he comes out of them and attacks people and stuff. And he kills people by like going in their ear hole and like popping an oxygen thing in their brain and stuff. Yeah. And he turned out to be like my favorite character to write. But sorry, I should not be talking about Dark Legion. I swear I never put my own stuff. The other comic book is autobiographical and super indie. And it's about my life as an adolescent, but I'm not the main character. I didn't want to be that narcissistic about it. It's my best friend is the main character at the time, JD, and he owned what was pretty much like a Crass house. If you guys are familiar with the band Crass, so they had a house that was like a punk rock commune. So we had our version of that. I was a very troubled youth. Did a lot of drugs. Got kicked out of my house when I was 15. Never to return. Lived on the streets, and it's about my time living on the streets and living in this punk rock house. And we started a Rocky Horror Picture Show group at a theater in the town I lived. And it's a story of how that came to be, and that's how I met my current wife. And yeah, so that comic's called Horror Show. And I wrote and drew it, and I hated my art, so I got some other artists to redraw it, and it's all redrawn. I just need to put it together. It's been redrawn for like 3 years, and I just didn't have that time to put it together. But yeah, long story short, that is my comics that I've done, and got pretty decent response on Horror Show. People like the writing; they weren't crazy about the art, and I don't blame them. But I got compliments on the writing, and I co-wrote that with my friend JD and my wife. I'll definitely the Horror Show stuff, the art. I got two really great artists. One's kind of an anime style, and one's kind of like a more comic book style, and it's vignettes. It's like short stories leading up to one big story. And yeah. Gary, you were the kid that I work with now. Like some freaky time travel shit. Yeah, really? Yeah, I was bad. I was a bad boy. Bad boy. Life is good now, though. Life is great now. So yeah, they've been published. They've all been self-published. God, if you search one of those online database comic ones has Dark. I don't know how the hell they got it, but Dark Legion was on there. Dark Legion was on, and Horror Show were on Amazon for a little while too. They're gone now. I sold quite a bit. I mean, I own the comic shop, but I sold quite a bit of Horror Show though. I sold 1,000 copies out of my store. So yeah, I made my money back on publishing, which was crazy. Never thought that would happen. But let's be real. A lot of I had a ton. There is a ton of characters in that book. There's like 50 characters, and they're all my friends. So like most of them bought stuff. Like I sold probably 100 copies to friends and family. I'll be honest with you. Sort of like Gaiman's writing, Gary. No, no. I am no. Yeah. I just write how I talk. That's it's not grammatically correct at all. Man. So yeah, I will I'll show you guys that someday. Sorry, I was catching up on the comments there. But I forgot what I was talking about before. Yeah, Zatanna used blood once because of her voice. Yeah, I ripped off a lot of shit. I really did. I wanted to pitch my David character as a botched Captain America thing before they redid it in the Ultimates universe. And he's okay. So what he is he's a Nephilim. David's a Nephilim, but he's like a made Nephilim. So he's like a Frankenstein Nephilim. And they use the soul. So his origin is this is so bad. So they just plucked up a drug. I wanted to use what I know. So they plucked up a drug addict off the street and extracted his soul, but just completely discarded his body. And he is put into this hodgepodge of vat grown body parts that they found some Nephilim DNA. They found out they existed. And what was this was supposed to be like, the story got way too big for me to write, but essentially it was supposed to be a galaxy and time crossing superhero fantasy that starts out with the destruction of Mars, and the last remnants of Mars comes to Earth, and that's how the Earth was seeded. and it was destroyed in this big war, and the asteroid field used to be a planet. And basically everything you ever heard on Art Bell, all the woo-woo stuff, I decided to make a comic book off. So yeah. And like even to the fact that, yeah, totally. No, there was gonna be Anunnaki and Sumerian shit in it. And the Greys, you find out that the Greys are trying to keep humankind on Earth. Like their whole thing is to like that's their whole purpose in life, is to keep them from coming out into the galaxy, because we're the most warlike race in the galaxy, and they want to keep us in check because they're afraid we would come and conquer and kill everybody. And so they're there to protect and contain or find out. Like there's some civilizations that just want to come and destroy us all, and there's someone who use us. And yeah, there's just no, humans are way too dangerous to be messed with, like baby rattlesnakes. I've been working on this. I was working on the story from like 86 to 2010 in my head, but then comic book retailing happened, and that fulfilled me creatively, by the way. It really did. That's what this podcast does. I always have to be creating or doing something, and artistically I feel creative enough doing the podcast. It really does feed that part. What did you say, Joe? Gary, it feels like you figured out out a way to incorporate elements from different places, but somehow you made it work. Go for it. If a much talented writer took it over, because it's sprawling. I have a notebook like this thick with the plots and like where it's going to go and character turnarounds. And I did a ton of work on it. Other people like Jay, who has been on this podcast. He co-wrote the first issue with me. I basically, gave him the dialogue and he gave it structure, because Jay's a very good writer. And Doug worked on it. You've seen in the chat. Yeah. I incorporated my friends. It was fun. I actually was on Artist Alley at Comic-Con for a few years doing this stuff. Yes, Dante asks, Nerdrotic gear was something we were thinking about. But I feel weird about selling it. When I have a store, I'll sell it in the store. But as far as like it being part of the podcast, I think it's going to be more something free that you get with Patreon. I'd be more comfortable with that. I don't know. The merch thing feels so to me. I mean, I don't begrudge other people from doing it, but I don't know. I mean, like Logan Paul. That's all I gotta say. It's all about that merch. He has a song about his merch. I mean, he's smart, but I keep trying to write, but I hate my writing. A lot of writers hate their writing, Applecrow. You got to bounce it off other people. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but if you hate doing it, that's a problem. I mean, maybe try plotting. I don't know. What are you writing? Novels or comics? Comics are it's a script, basically. I can do that. I could not write a novel. You love buying merch if it's cool. Yeah. So I think I have a cool concept in my head for some stuff. So I will throw it out there, see what you think, but I would feel way more comfortable making it part of Patreon. And like like an exchange, I have no problem making money. I am a capitalist, but I like to do it in a store. And yeah, so I'm very proud of our branding here. Like what I've done in the branding market. Maybe if I had to redo it, I wouldn't have done like a yellow background for my thing, but it does pop pretty well. But the story where I got the glasses logo is kind of funny. So I ripped that off from an old 80s porno logo. I saw it and I'm like, that's what I want. And instead of glasses, it was sunglasses, and it was done in a very 80s way. So it's hard to describe, but just imagine a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses done in an 80s way with like this weird bright purple 80s background. And it's just the angle of the glasses. And I'm like, I wear glasses all the time. And that's kind of a universal nerd symbol. And this is like, I know the whole nerd playing on the word nerd is like almost really played out. But when I did create this, this was like in, mid 2000s. And the whole tape on the glasses, like, I don't know if people even understand what that is anymore, but it was just kind of thrown together and I'm like, oh, that looks kind of good. I kind of like it. So, which superhero? I have not watched any superhero porn parodies. I have seen them. People have offered to show them to me in the store, but I am not a porn guy. I don't judge people for porn at all. I don't. I'm actually not a super judgy person when it comes to lifestyle choices. I think do what the fuck you want, whatever makes you happy. But I don't do porn. I don't. With the teardrop lenses, yeah, kind of like that. Yes, yes. Maybe you've seen it, Jody. I've never seen it again, but I paid homage to a porn logo. I can't remember what company it was, but yeah, they were like they weren't aviator sunglasses. Well, maybe they were. Maybe they were. Now I think about it. That's the other problem. Apple Crow says, I'm impatient. Yeah, I have a good idea for a book and perhaps an anthology. It's utopian sci-fi. See, that'd be rad. Yeah, patience is key. I have no patience for that, and probably the big time adult ADD. I learned how to read from comic books. I could not read books when I was a kid at all, and my youngest is going through the same thing right now. So my youngest is I might have mentioned this, is on slightly on the spectrum. They thought he was full autistic when he was born. He's got some stuff with it, but through some amazing teachers here in San Francisco and occupational therapy and a lot of things he's gone through, he's fully mainstreamed in junior high now. Very proud of him. He's doing pretty well. So I think the only thing you could label my youngest as is he's exactly like I was, but much nicer. Just a strange kid. So, and I like strange. We embrace the strange here in our household. So yeah, so that's why I got into comics, because that's a comic book is something I could read. And I've heard that story a lot from a lot of people. Like it, I get lost in a book now. I mean, I can read books, but I have to read every page twice. That's why Dennis is much better at me at catching stuff in shows. I'm just like way too, squirrel, dyslexia. I don't have much dyslexia. It's a concentration problem. I can completely read the word and it just won't sit in my head. Abaco says, I love the read, but I have high standards. If I wanted to write pulp, that wouldn't be hard at all. But when I read it back, it reads like that I want to throw it out. Yeah. It's got to be within your taste and writing what you know. Reading books and comics take more than TV and movies, but can also be more rewarding when you finish. Totally. I remember when I made it through my first book. And it's kind of surprising at what age it was and what book it was. But it was the Twilight Zone Companion was my first book that I read cover to cover. And I was 12. Yeah. 12 when I read my first book. Long time, I know. Like when I was given books in school and stuff, I totally cheated and didn't get good grades. Strange is good, says Viking Badge. I'm glad your son was able to get help, the help he needs early. It will make the rest of his life easier. Absolutely. There was a time where we weren't sure, but he's a great kid. He's an awesome kid. Best thing ever. His brother too. His brother's all right. Pisses me off sometimes, but that's what kids do. My mind wanders too for full page sometimes, but no harm in reading things twice. No, there isn't. There isn't. And yeah, that's, I don't know. We talked way too much about myself. I'm sorry. We should talk about other things. I'm boring. But yeah, the comic thing, he is a great, Logan is a great kid. I don't know how, I think I talked about last podcast. I don't know how me and his mom made this, because he's way too nice and considerate, which mom and dad are not. I mean, I'm way nicer than Melissa, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, we're I don't know, we're just rough around the edges. I'll just say that. And he's not. Doesn't even cuss. And I wouldn't care if he did. I both love and hate that when you're reading and you realize that your mind went off on a tangent half a page ago and totally lost when you're like, God, that happens to me a lot. But doesn't it make you think about the good books that have you just completely locked in? Like Game of Thrones in particular, and Storm of Swords. I didn't need to read those pages twice. I was locked in on that book. So, you know, that it's, yeah, that is, makes it all in your head. Oh, thanks, Viking Bitch. She says, I am the reason we all show up here. It's the content, but you're nice. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. So what else do we got? I talked about the Patreon prizes. So we're going to expand on Patreon prizes. That cat's, I guess, out of the bag. So we are going to be adding merchandise. When I'll talk about it in a regular podcast, and we're going to add to the Patreon a little bit. So you guys will be getting more stuff than you are now. There's 3 tiers. You can go to patreon.com/nerdrotic if you want to check it out. Applecrow says, I'm a Dune fanatic. It's very dense, like Game of Thrones as well. Yeah, Dune, I had so much trouble getting into Dune. It was something I appreciated when I was older. I tried to read as a kid and just couldn't get into it, but as an adult, it's the shit. Get lost in a good book is a great way to spend time. Oh my God. Yeah. And it's a great way for escapism. Books and comics, really help me through some fucking shitty times. That's probably why I love them so much. I watched all of Game of Thrones TV show. Now have a hard time reading the books since I know the story. Best to read the books first, I guess, says Leon Kennedy. Yep. But if you want to just, I would, because once you get past Dance with Dragons, the show and the books are not going to be anything alike. The show just became its own now. It's gone in. George R. R. Martin hasn't come out and said it, but I mean, if you read the books, the directions every single character has gone is not going to be the direction they're going in the book, because in the show they started, what George R. R. Martin does is he sets up an expectation that subverts it. I mean, if you're looking for a pattern, is every time somebody makes a plan in Game of Thrones, usually the opposite happens. It goes to shit immediately. So this whole, like, Jon Snow going to be the savior, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't, or it's going to happen, but George R. R. Martin writes like a deal with the devil. You get what you want, but it turns out not being what you want. You know what I mean? You get what you thought you want, and what you thought you want not is what it was. So that's what Game of Thrones is going to turn out to be. And I've become more of a fan of the books than the show. It used to be equal. Ironically, I don't read sci-fi at all, mostly nonfiction, but love sci-fi shows and movies. Dante S. I mostly read nonfiction too, but it's weird nonfiction. I read a lot of weird books. I only like, for as far as fantasy, it's like Tolkien and George R. R. Martin, and Zalansky. Am I saying his name right? The 9 Princes of Amber. That was freaking great. But that's it. I don't read a bunch of other stuff. I read tons of comic books. So I love comic books. Comic books still make me as happy today as they did when I was a kid. There's something about them that just speaks to me. I love it as a medium. For one, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can go just like batshit nuts in a comic book, and there's always limits to television and movies. And there are no, I mean, the only limit is two-dimensional, but within that page, you can do whatever the hell you want and get away with it. Like the Doc Samson I just mentioned earlier, totally works in a comic book to me. Anyway, it's a guy with he looks like a 70s rocker with green hair and a lightning bolt shirt that's like Flash Gordon's. Would look ridiculous in a Marvel movie, but it looks fine in an old Hulk comic. I love it. So like MODOK. Yeah, good luck doing MODOK in the MCU. I would love to see it, but which is a giant head squished into a machine with like little arms and legs that flies around. Applecrow says, I would have never guessed Gary loves comics. I know. Surprise. Come here for the surprises. Stay for the obvious. Oh, good to know. Gary, it's like buying something from the Goblin Market. You'll get what you want. Oh, yeah. Gary, it's like buying something from the Goblin Market. You'll get what you bought, but there's always a twist. Some details in the fine print that you missed. Absolutely. Kind of like life. It's good to be passionate about what you love. Absolutely. That is everything. How many comic shop owners? I was afraid this was going to happen to me too, but how many comic shop owners, started out with the passion and then you see the day-to-day grind in it and you lose it, or I lose it. I'll use I statements. And I've seen that with a lot of comic shop owners. I know there's a lot of comic shop owners, at least back in my day, who did not read comics at all. At all. I'm like, why are you even doing this? I mean, it can't be the money. I mean, there's decent money in it, and I guess you don't have a boss, but and there's some guys who do it for the toys and stuff. And if you sell toys, that's fine. And then again, not judging. I can see how you get that way. There's a burnout factor for sure. I had reached it. I definitely reached it, but that's why it was easier to sell my store. I was completely burned out. But I'm not anymore. I've got the itch. It's calling me back. It's calling me back. If it wasn't for this damn new job, I'd have done it already. But this new job was so good, and the benefits. Did I mention the benefits? They're awesome. The wild cards, the gold standard first few books, says David 404. And Viking Bitch says, I'll check that out. I have to check out wild cards too. I've had a little bit of a resentment towards wild cards because it's kept us from getting some Game of Thrones, but I need to put that resentment away. I'm torn. Like George R. R. Martin should be able to write at whatever pace he wants. And then there's the fanboy in me who's like, give me the fucking book. But honestly, it's later in life. He's achieved this. He's wrote all his life to achieve this super success. And yeah, he might not finish, but he should be allowed to enjoy the fruits of his labors. Like Neil Gaiman says, George R. R. Martin is not our bitch, although I want him to be sometimes. Yeah, TV series progressively got worse past season 4. It's like the showrunners just lost interest, and the tiff with George R. R. Martin. Agreed. Not unlike what's happened to Walking Dead. I mean, it's not similar in the circumstances, but just in how the show is just. My suggestion to who is running Westworld right now, and I think actually that's why we got partially a delay with Westworld, is they didn't want happening to them what's happening to Walking Dead, what happened to Lost, what's happening to Game of Thrones. It's like we need to finish strong. Okay. So if we're going to embark on this huge project, we're going to finish. So Westworld is like 5 seasons cap. Like that's all we're getting. Then it's planned out. They have an ending. And that was the success of Harry Potter. I don't know how everybody feels about the ending. I like how it ended. I'm talking about the books. And J.K. Rowling always had her ending in place. Like how she got there, she could change, but she had her ending in place. So I admire that. I love the freaking suggested side panels. Some of the suggestions are really left field, but really has some right. On the YouTube videos, the suggested side panel. That's how I find most of my stuff. And honestly, that's how we got attention at all. I think we got attached to some pretty big YouTubers by accident or whatever, and we started getting attention a little bit. It was because of Westworld and Ash. So I'm so disappointed in Ash freaking recaps. I don't think anybody cares about that show anymore. I mean, I know, it could be us. I always factor in like we could suck, but the one with Susan last week was great. And it only got 177 views. I was like, wow. Like, I think Ash kind of killed itself, which sucks. Harry Potter Cursed Child is bad. Yeah, I have it right here. It's bad. It is not good. I don't know why she went back and did that. I mean, I hope she like fixes that. I hope she goes back and goes. I want her to go back in that world. I'm okay with it not being Harry Potter. The Fantastic Beast stuff. This, I don't know. I'm happy to see Dumbledore back, but Dante says, I found you via the Star Wars Discovery recap. When it's funny slip right there. I like that. That's funny. Awesome. Star Trek. I know what you meant, but that was actually kind of funny. That was well done. A lot of people, Star Trek did us so much good. Oh my God. We got, I think the grand total is 600 subscribers from Star Trek. So I can't hate it too much. But my biggest worry, and that's why I always try to keep it even keel, because I didn't want to build the station on hating something. Although that can bring a lot of success, and that's cool for people who do it. Again, not judging, but I want to be a place where people can just talk and not just like, oh, this is the hate Star Wars channel, or this is the hate whatever channel. I don't want to be that. And I don't think we are, because guys, you guys are great. Oh my God, I would be terrible if it wasn't for you guys and you viewing out there. And when it turns into a video, we'll probably agree. And I understand that. Man, you guys have been good today. Kept me going. Look at Dread. It has good effects, but nothing major. And damn, that is a great ride. I was just talking to Sam at Blue Moon Comics in San Rafael when I was picking up my reads about the same damn thing 2 days ago. We're like, I hope that series goes through. That movie is so freaking good. And apparently it was ghost directed by Alex Garland. So make Dread happen. If Carl Urban is willing to do it, it's perfect for Netflix. Oh my God, it would be such a great TV series. Yeah, I don't understand that, because it used to be a time where I know it's a weird example, but Austin Powers, the first Austin Powers movie, I don't know if you all remember, did shitty in the theaters. I think it did 60 million, which is still bad for 90s standards. And it was its DVD success that got it a sequel. It exploded on DVD. So due to marketing or whatever, it crapped out into movies. And then it became one of the best-selling DVDs at the time. Actually, I think it beat The Matrix, which was the best-selling DVD of all time. And it got a sequel that made a ton of money. So I equate to Dread, which didn't do well in the theaters, but I know every, at least geek and nerd and person I talk to, loves it. I haven't heard of anybody ever say anything bad about it. So I don't understand why they haven't gone to that. Maybe it's the rights things. I don't know. It just seems like they're leaving some money on the table, and they're giving other crap chances. I don't know why they're not giving that. Yeah, fucking Dread. Speaking of Dread, talk me out of that. I can't. I can't. I can't talk you out of it. It's too good. Don't see Dread because you don't want to be entertained for 2 hours. Go be bored. I thought Jason Isaacs was the best thing in Star Trek Discovery, and the show felt his loss. I think he will be back. Austin Powers should show up on Saturday Night Live with Christopher Steele as Christopher Steele. That'd be funny. I loved Austin Powers. I did. The link I posted is as Judge Mortis figure LOL. I was saying, talk me out of buying it. Again, I can't. Undercover, baby. Yeah. Oh man, my stomach's starting to growl. Gonna wrap this up in a little bit. Got stuff to do. Although I could go all freaking day. My wife was cracking up because when I first started this thing, I'm like, I don't know if I can do it, honey. I don't know. I'm like talking to myself. She's all, for one, you're not talking to yourself. And for two, have you heard you? And I said, yeah. And she thought it was funny that I didn't think I could talk this long. I can. I did 3 podcasts in one day. That was a bit much. So I definitely want you guys to visit on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Pacific time. If you want to hear about the comic stuff, come check me out on Comics Division. It's comics is spelled COMIX Division, like Joy Division, except Comics Division. Go check out his channel on Thursday night, 8 p.m. We will be doing the live stream. That's going to be fun. And those can go a long time. Comics Division is a great moderator. Feisty Fan is so good. She was so good on our last live stream. So I'm really looking forward to talking to both of them. They're both a lot of fun to talk to. They're knowledgeable. Comics Division is pretty funny in his own right. And he's part of this other community that I'm a part of with the whole comic book thing, with I Love Comics, with Englentine, and they're all good people. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I got to take a sip of my coffee though, because my voice is getting a little. That's better. All right. So, and also, I'm going to be putting up a Patreon video tomorrow. We're going to try to give you content on Patreon every Tuesday and Thursday. I don't know how well I can commit to that for the first month or so, but it'll, like we usually do, we warm up the stuff and then we get more consistent. So I have like 4 or 5 videos lined up for you. Nothing super special, but just something. And we'll see how that is. And of course, later tonight, I've got the aforementioned Ash versus Evil Dead. I haven't watched the episode yet, so I'm going to watch it and we're going to recap it. That'll be at 7:30 with Susan Layton from 1428.com. She was great last podcast. She brought it. She brought some good knowledge. And yeah. And then, of course, Wednesday is a doubleheader. Those are tough. We've got the X-Files finale, and then we're covering Krypton. And I really loved that sci-fi. Sorry, God damn it. I'm starting to lose my voice now. I really love that Sci-Fi did Superman stuff all day yesterday. So sorry, that coughing was horrible. I apologize. So yeah, they showed Superman 1 and they showed some of the animated Superman. Dennis said he was watching it all day. And like, I love what Sci-Fi is doing right now. They're finally being sci-fi, right? So kind of excited about this Krypton show. I could come away totally different, but it looks like they put a lot into it. So hopefully it'll be good. And we will be covering that that'll be after X-Files. So we will be doing 2 podcasts in a row on Wednesday night. And then back for Friday. And right after this podcast, I am going to contact Doomcock. And what the hell? I'll try. We'll see if we can work something out. I will make myself available for him, whatever I need. If I need to take a day off of work, I'll take a day off of work to talk to Doomcock. Applecrow, you're almost caught up with The Expanse. Good. It's about time. It's about time for not about time that you caught up, but it's about time for The Expanse. I'm kind of noticing that they haven't put out a lot. That's worrying me a little bit. Have you noticed that? Am I just not seeing it? It seems like they just haven't put a lot of promo material out for it. So I'm a little worried about that. I don't want them to put Expanse on the back burner, but it gets a lot of love. Expanse, like, people love that show. That was another thing that kind of helped us a lot in the beginning was the first 3 shows we got like 1,000 viewers on were the first one was a Westworld, the second one was Ash, and the third one that became consistent was The Expanse. Gary, you beat your old record. You'd said you'd go for 3 hours. You totally called it. Did I go for 3 hours? Oh man, I went for 3 hours. Holy shit. That's why my voice is starting to die out. It is possible. My voice can die out. Wow. Shit. So the mystery podcast, I'm going to blow the mystery now. Just us. You won't tell anybody. It's going to be Farscape. I'm going to be doing Farscape, and it'll be kind of a reverse thing. It'll be the people who've seen Farscape, and hopefully it'll like can watch somebody experience it for the first time. I don't know how exciting that'll be. Hopefully I will like it, so I will continue it. If I don't like it, I'm not going to continue it. But if I like it, I will. I'll do a video. They'll be shorter, but I'll do a video. I'll try to do every episode. I know it's a tall task, but I was told if I like Doctor Who, I will like Farscape. So, and I love Doctor Who. So that is it. And a Friday night podcast with Doomcock. Hell yeah. Oh God, yes. Yes. And we're also going to get Feisty Fan, who you saw in the chat. We're going to get her on 1 and 2. Because she's good. Silver Spike 1 says, I liked Farscape. Totally mad fun. I love mad fun. I love craziness and puppets and weird alien. I like that stuff. Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one. Who was the Green Lantern who was supposed to be in defense of Krypton? Well, for one, he screwed up. That's for sure. Oh my God. I do not know that. I mean, that's something that got retconned in. Green. Let's find out. You guys will answer faster than me, but so typing yourselves. Oh my God, I got to go through the Kryptonian. Who was the Green Lantern assigned to Project Krypton? Oh, that's Project Krypton. Okay. God, I don't want to read this entire article. Oh my God, that's way too. It was. Oh, yeah. So this was in. It was an old one. Green Lantern number 6. Oh, it was Green Lantern from another planet. Oh, that's weird. I'm not going to read this entire thing. I'm sorry. I made you guys go through that whole thing, but you probably answered it by now. Boom. I'm going to get back to oh, thank you. Tormoray. God. I'm like seeing his face and I'm not remembering that damn DC name. See, I'm mostly a Marvel guy. Okay. So thank you so much. Yes. And it was in Green Lantern number 6. I was never a big green. I'm reading Green Lantern now because of Ethan Van Sciver, but I never read it much. I read it in the store passingly to be able to give knowledge to the people who came in, but never a big Green Lantern dude. I'm reading more. We need backstory for the Sean Connery Thor. This is a knockoff Indiana Jones, Henry Jones action figure, and this is a Captain Action Thor costume. And I was bored one day at the comic store, and I made Sean Connery Thor. End of story. That was it. I thought it was ridiculous and funny at the same time. And he used to go with my George Lucas, who had a big wad of cash in his hand, and you could articulate. We used to call him Articulate George, and you could articulate his fingers. So he had a big wad of cash, and he was flipping you off. And he had a little thought bubble that said, "Thanks for the money, suckers." And we'd have him at every Comic-Con right next to the cash register. And then I got to find the video of a camera right behind his head. And I kind of did a Triumph the Insult Dog with him. And I was walking up to Star Wars fans and giving them shit. Sometimes it worked out. Sometimes it was very cringy. So, Carol Ferris is the only interesting thing on Green Lantern, says Love Pond. Watch Green Lantern cartoons. It's pretty good in my opinion. I love him I was just watching Justice League Unlimited the other day. That's a perfect fucking show, by the way. Tomari, you had one job, dude. I love Guy Gardner. Oh my God, the 80s Justice Leagues when Batman was leading and Guy Gardner was in the team. That was a good comic book. Oh my God, that was a good comic book. I have all of those actually right under this desk. This desk right here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 long boxes under it. Now, let's see what I pull out randomly. Let's see what randomly gets pulled out. Oh, that's weird. I randomly pulled out House of M Hulk. See, there's just random shit down here. That must be my event box. It's got House of M and Civil War in it. I like John Stewart too. Kyle Rayner. I like that was the one thing. Green Lantern was the first one to really do the mantle thing so well. Like all the, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner. It was almost unnecessary to bring Hal back. Now, Green Lantern Rebirth is a great book, though. So, Hal Jordan is kind of boring compared to all of them, And even, bringing Barry Allen back. I don't know how necessary that was, to be honest with you. I was totally down with it. Honestly, he had been gone so long. I mean, he was gone when I was like 16. A long time ago. So, I don't know. Bat Lantern. They're kind of doing the whole Dark Knight Metal thing that they're doing now is kind of like fan fiction, but really freaking cool. And they're doing that with Damnation. They're making everybody a Ghost Rider, and they've already kind of done the making everybody a Green Lantern thing. So, but it's good. It's good. No, I'm really like I said, Ethan Van Sciver. Like I'm going to buy anything that guy draws. I'm actually going to go back and get his back catalog too. And yes, it was just because I talked to him for half an hour on I Love Comics and he was super cool. Super cool dude. He's bringing back Cyberfrog, which is hilarious. Supergirl was a Red Lantern. When I was a kid, I only read Justice League. The only DC I read, and when I was a kid, DC comics were more expensive than Marvel comics. So that people don't talk about that enough. Like that was why Marvel succeeded over DC. Was DC had 50-cent comic books on the rack, and you can buy a 30-cent or a quarter book from Marvel. They were cheaper. You got more comic book in DC, but they were just more expensive. I'm surprised more people don't talk about that. Like, how did Marvel overtake DC? money. I mean, story had a lot to do with it too, but it was money. So I mean, why did Spider-Man become my favorite character? Because he had the best costume. When I was a kid down in San Diego, I got the Tijuana station, and every Saturday morning there was Lucha Libre wrestling. I watched that. Everybody couldn't understand a word anybody was saying, but these guys are beating the shit out of each other with these cool masks on. So I watched that, and then I saw Spider-Man. I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like a wrestling mask. I like that character, and the rest is history. Love Pond says I would read a Flash spinoff with August. I heard Flash is pretty good right now. DNC just did a video and he said it was decent. I don't know. What do you think, Love Pond? Loved X-Men comics growing up, but they always got their asses kicked. Yeah, but that's kind of the fun part. I love Daredevil. Excuse me. He is the punching bag of the Marvel universe. The freaking X-Men 90s cartoon made more X-Men fans than John Byrne, the movies, and the comics combined. Jody said the Mood Rings Green Lantern story got a little bit weird. It does, as all sprawling comic events do. They get weird. 90s X-Men and Spider-Man are the legends of superhero cartoons. They are. I love the Spider-Man cartoon. The X-Men cartoon's a little better. But I love the Spider-Man cartoon. Well, the Spider-Man cartoon did a version of Secret Wars. It was so much fun. And I love the action figures from those two series too. Those are my favorite. Justice League Unlimited. I would say it's the best, but I mean, Batman, the animated series. Although, you know what? Let's be real. Not every episode of Batman in the animated series, they looked good, but some of the episodes were kind of boring. Batman Beyond was pretty solid all the way through. All the way through. And the Superman one was really good too. Spectacular Spider-Man is so good. That has the best Venom origin ever. Making him changing I want that to be the Venom origin from now on. I really loved how they changed that. That was so good. Was kind of weirded out by the art of Spectacular Spider-Man, but the storytelling was solid. I found out, I don't know who loved or hated Thor Ragnarok, but I liked it. And the reason I think it was good and kind of funny was I totally failed to see who co-wrote it, which are the guys who co-wrote Wolverine and the X-Men, Spectacular Spider-Man, Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is a really good cartoon, was Greg Kyle and Yost. Kyle and Yost, which are great comic book writers, but they're even better scripters for animated series. And they co-wrote Thor Ragnarok. All right, my voice is really going now. When I got a podcast later today, Spectacular Spider-Man got old to me. He kept fighting the same guys over and over. Kind of, I don't know. I didn't get old to me, but we'll agree to disagree on that one. But I didn't watch it over and over again. My kid freaking loved it. Oh my God. Logan ate it up. Batman Brave and the Bold was the shit. Let's just be real. We got to see Doom Patrol. It was, the demon one was really good. Etrigan, that was so good. The Music Meister, one of the greatest cartoons ever made. So, Earth's Mightiest Heroes was underrated. I can't see that is where Disney came in and canceled Spectacular Spider-Man, Earth's Mightiest Heroes to come out with inferior cartoons. So don't think they won't do that shit with the Netflix series. The new, it's unwatchable to me. I can't watch the new Spider-Man cartoon with all it's Deadpool. That's all it is Deadpool and really random kid stuff. But I'm old. They're not making it for me. I got to keep that in mind all the time. All the time. All right, man. I'm going to have to wrap this one up. You guys have been great. Let me try to thank everybody who's been in here. My chat, it's been going for so long. My chat only goes for up so far. So Leon Kennedy, Halam 899, Viking Bitch, Jody, Feisty Fan, Apple Crow, Ghost World, Viking Bitch. Did I say Viking Bitch already? Dante S. Thank you. You got Leon Kennedy. Great stuff today. Thank you. Love Pond. How are you? Thank you for coming in. Steve Nyman. How about doing a Mr. Chuckleteeth comic? That would be great. Dante S. There we go. Leon Kennedy. I don't want to repeat anybody. Davis 404. And we're looking for anybody new. The usual suspects, which are great. And if I missed anybody who was on earlier, Silver Spike 1. Thank you all for watching. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Thank you so much. Leon Kennedy said, great show. Thank you. Yeah, have to admit, Ultimate Spider-Man was sort of fun, but it got a bit weird. And then they canceled it and replaced it with the latest show, which isn't as good. Yep, that's Disney's thing. Yeah. So, and without merchandising, I don't know how much we're going to get cartoons. They were so tied in, but Toys R Us going, a lot of dominoes are falling right now. And, a lot of weird stuff going on, which we will get into in the future. So I had a great time today. Thank you so much for making the show better by joining me. I appreciate it. These are a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do it next Monday. And again, I'll see you later tonight if you watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. If not, then it'll be Wednesday for the doubleheader. Do check out Krypton. At least let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. I don't know if how accessible it is to people in other countries. Let me know on that one. Like, how are you guys watching it in other places? That's interesting to me. And we will try to get Doomcock. Legendary. Oh God, stop. Jody, don't. My head will just poof like that. I'm gonna show it to my wife later. Oh my God. Oh, Young Justice. How can I forget Young Justice? See, I'm bad. Can't wait for season 3. Man, that's gonna be awesome. We're gonna cover it, by the way. So again, guys, thank you so much for getting in here. This is so much fun. So we have a website. It's nerdrotic.com. That's where all of our videos and podcasts are planted. If you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you like the cut of our jib, please subscribe and hit the bell. We do appreciate your time. We appreciate you watching us. Don't forget, I will be on a live stream with Comics Division and Feisty Fan Thursday night, 8 p.m. Link will be in the description once this rolls over into a video. And please come back again. And I'm trying to think if I plugged everything. Oh, I have a Twitter. It's at Nerdrotics. Please follow us there. Dennis, my co-host, runs our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Nerdrotic Podcast. There's also a group. Please join in. I will be starting a Discord or some form of for patrons and not patrons, so we can start like talking constantly, and we could come up with ideas, and I think that'd be fun to do that. So if you guys are in, I'm down. I'm just start reading more comments. I should just end this now. So to everybody, thank you so much. See you on the next podcast. And remember, wow, my voice really is going. Oh God. How much did I move? I'm not watching myself on the monitor. Am I just like all over the place here? Remember, kids, it's progress, not perfection. Good night, everybody.